subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Find Gene. After all, although Gene is not a friend, he is also in trouble. Let's be careful. If we really meet the person who released None, we will avoid him directly, don't confront him, and stay in the ruins for 2 hours. If we can't find it, we will go back. Crook said worriedly. Her current thinking is that if the president can be found, then it is best. If not, then go back immediately to rescue the soldiers. If you encounter the powerful Nun user just now, retreat immediately and cannot face up. I know, I'm not that stupid. I will retreat if I can't do anything. Kia nodded and said, "Hurry up, I'm going to speed up." Crook was taken aback for a moment, and the next moment she shouted, "Wow, don't be so fast." Dim blue and grass green. The two colors are entangled with each other, flowing rapidly in the magma sea. Startled by Kia's sudden acceleration, Crook almost flew out. Fortunately, she reacted in time and grabbed Kia's clothes tightly. However, despite this, Crook is still not well at this time, and there are lightning flashes on his body from time to time. I said, "Your speed just now is fine. Why are you still in this state?" Crook, who used Nin to defend against Kia's lightning damage, looked at Kia's side face with eyelids twitching. Although the thunder and lightning in Kia's super speed state is under control, its power should not be underestimated. At least Crook suffered some minor injuries when he couldn't reach the defense. If I want to find President Netero and Gene within 2 hours, I have to speed up. This ruin is very big, Kia explained softly, looking around quickly with her eyes. Don't stand still. Let's look for it together. Why is it so troublesome? Let's go directly to the tree in the center of the Kekali ruins, go to the branches of that tree, and look down directly to find it. Crook rolled his eyes and said contemptuously, Iorreich. Kia agreed after being silent for a moment. Going to the top of the big tree does have the best view, and you can observe the situation of the entire ruins. With a flash of blue-green light, Kia rushed directly to where the towering tree was. Did Netero and the others explain anything to you before they entered the ruins? Kia asked Crook curiously on the way. No, not at all. President Netero only said at the time that he and Gene would come back after going, but they didn't come back after a day and a night. In addition to the current situation, President Netero and the others must have had an accident. Crook shook his head and said, hearing this, Kia shook her head slightly. She was speechless. Call out. At this moment, one after another sound came, and several meters thick branches fell from the sky, and they drew towards Kia's position. Kia, who was on his way, suddenly stood upright. His body was full of thunder, and a thunder lion instantly formed on top of Kia's head, colliding with several large tree branches that hit him. Boom! Rot! There was a huge explosion sound, and a powerful impact spread. Kia was blown away by the impact and fell heavily on the magma in the distance, splashing balls of magma. What's going on? Crook said belatedly. She was thinking about Netero just now, but unexpectedly, the lightning power on Kia's body suddenly strengthened, and she was numb from the electric shock. Before she complained to Kia, it became like this. It seems that our enemy has been identified. I really didn't expect it. I always thought that the Nun field was emitted by humans. Kia didn't answer Crook's question, but stared at the few hairs in front of him. Huge branches glowing green. The green rays of light on these branches are Nyen Ki, which comes from the same source, and is exactly the same as the Nun Ki in the Nun domain they are in now. Now there is no need for Kia to find the enemy at all. Their enemy is the patron saint of the center of the Kekali ruins. It's actually... Crook stared in shock at the huge tree branches dancing in front of him, with an expression of disbelief. She had guessed the identity of the enemy before, but she didn't think about it at all. It's this guy. It seems that this thing has a very deep secret. The corners of Kia's mouth raised slightly, and his eyes sparkled with interest. His original purpose of coming here this time was to study this big tree, and after that he was looking for Gene and Netero. He didn't expect this big tree to bring him such a surprise. In this way, Jean and Netero must be related to this big tree now. Go straight to the big tree. Kia made a decision instantly. Swish! As soon as Kia's decision was made, the huge branch dancing in front of him seemed to know Kia's mind and quickly spurred towards Kia. Kia stomped hard, jumped back, and quickly dodged the huge tree branch that hit her. Then her eyes moved slightly, and a strange wave spread instantly. A series of transparent and invisible frames wrapped several huge branches, and several huge branches were completely bound by the invisible frames, unable to move. Then Kia turned around and quickly flashed towards the location of the towering tree. After the figures of Kia and Crook disappeared, the bound huge branches were directly squeezed and twisted into pieces. Chapter 77. Continuing blocking a steady stream of branches came, vowing to kill Kia and Crook, but they were easily destroyed by Kia. Kia and Crook kept approaching the towering tree. This big tree seems to be preventing us from going to his body. Although Crook was hugged by Kia, he also shot to destroy the branches that attacked the two of them. In the process of destroying these branches, she also discovered the purpose of these branches. Although these branches are huge, any one of them can destroy them, but they still appear in front of them continuously, as if they don't want her and Kia to rush to its location. Well, you see, it seems like our arrival there will do something to the beast. I'm going to speed up. Kia nodded lightly, expressing his understanding. The thunder all over his body became more and more turbulent, and the giant thunder tigers condensed into shape and were blasted out for 5-3 by Kia, opening the way in front, fighting with the attacking branches. The huge tree branch that struck couldn't get close to Kia under the obstruction of the thunder giant tiger. Without the obstruction of the tree branch, Kia's speed skyrocketed again. It took less than a minute to arrive under the towering giant tree. Kia jumped up quickly, jumped upwards, and landed on one of the huge branches. The huge branches are as huge as flat ground. This time, the branches of the towering giant tree did not continue to attack. Okay, come down. Kia withdrew Shinsu and put Crook down, but Kia didn't let him go, but held her hand tightly. Now it is no longer in the magma sea. Here, Crook himself can gain a foothold. However, it does not mean that Crook is immune to the nun released by the patron saint. As soon as he landed, Crook wanted to break free from Kia's hand and run towards the edge, but he was held tightly by Kia. Kia frowned and said in dissatisfaction, "Hey, you don't want to die. Have you forgotten what's going on now?" As soon as the words came out, Crook also reacted and couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed, but her arrogant character made her unable to let go of her face. Song Nung turned his head to ignore Kia's scolding. "Don't let go," Kia told Crook, and Kia pulled her towards the edge of the tree trunk. When they came to the edge, the two looked down. At this time, the magma below has submerged the bottom of the patron saint of the Cocoa ruins, but did not burn. After all, it is an old monster that has existed for thousands of years. It is not surprising what kind of situation will happen. Looking at the incredible scene below, Kia's face did not change and said lightly, "Now, first look for Jean and Netero. Let's go to a higher place," Kia reminded. "Yeah." Crook heard the words and nodded slightly to express his understanding. Their top priority now is to find President Netero and Jean, and the four of them meet with a few of them and then deal with the towering giant tree. The two immediately jumped up and rushed towards the top. The city of Saria, where Kia lives, has an area of 1,000 square kilometers and is the patron saint of the Cocoa ruins. Its size is so large that it is almost 1/3 of the city of Salia, and its height is also 3,000 meters high. It is entrenched in the center of the entire ruins and is magnificent. The tree trunk extending from its body is also extremely huge, falling squarely like a flat ground. Kia and the two quickly jumped over tree trunks one after another and leaped upwards. When it reached a height of more than 1,000 meters, the mutation happened suddenly. The dense leaves descended from the sky like a winding dragon, sweeping towards Kia with a flickering cold light. It was enough to be intimidating at first glance. The flickering cold light made Crook's hair stand on end in midair, and the thought energy all over her body surged instantly, forming the strongest strength since she became a nun. Being in midair, even Kia couldn't dodge it for a short time. Although it could be directly elementalized, Kia did not do so. Once elementalized, it means that the contact between Kia and Crook has disappeared. Kia is fine, but Crook is dead. Without Kia's nun shroud, Crook would definitely be shrouded by the nun emanating from this giant tree and lose consciousness on the spot. Crook, who is unconscious, would definitely not be able to survive this overwhelming attack. However, even without using elementalization, Kia still has two abilities that can block this seemingly terrifying attack. The special nun space and enhancer can both block it. The space barrier of the trait system, Kia can create a space barrier that surrounds the two of them, blocking the attack. You can also use the enhancer mind energy to release an aura that can destroy these leaves. Choose one of the two. Kia directly chose to use Enhancer Nun to destroy the attack in front of him. The terrifying Enhancer's aura instantly exploded and soared into the sky. The Enhancer's Nian Ki, even if it doesn't attack, has a strong attack power. The moment the seemingly terrifying Winding Dragon hits down, it is directly crushed to pieces by the Enhancer's aura. However, if this is the case, the Winding Dragon is still rushing down, as if it will not stop until Kia is wiped out. Seeing this, Kia's eyes flashed brightly, and the enhancer energy on his body directly turned into a giant dragon under Kia's control, biting and biting towards the Winding Dragon. Two giant dragons began to writhe, bite, and wreak havoc in midair. Such a powerful nun. So amazing. This kind of special aggressiveness. This is Enhancer's nun. Kia, how many kinds of nun have you cultivated? At this time, the panic on Crook's face has disappeared, replaced by one who dare not confidence. She has seen Kia use 4 kinds of nun by now, except for nun, which she couldn't see. She could see all the other 3. Trait Space, Conjurer's Thunder, and now Enhancer. Kia has actually cultivated the nun of these 3 different systems to an extremely terrifying level. For a moment, Crook looked at Kia as if he was looking at a monster. This made Kia extremely upset. The corner of Kia's mouth twitched and said unhappily, 0.0, don't look at me like that. I'm not a monster. I'm sorry. Seeing this, Crook immediately came back to his senses and then apologized embarrassingly. Okay, let's go while the attack is blocked. Let's throw it up quickly. They've all come up here, and this BD even tried to stop us. There must be some hidden secrets up there. I'm getting more and more interested in this tree. Kia nodded slightly, accepting the apology, then narrowed his eyes slightly. Looking up, he said with a smile, okay. The two set off again and jumped upwards. At the same time, several hundred meters above the two of them, on a huge branch, the 4 of them were still standing calmly, with their eyes closed and breathing evenly. The branches of the 4 were tightly wrapped around their bodies at this time, almost completely sealing the 4 of them. Chapter 78 Rescue. It's really annoying. It seems that what happened above is very important. It's a stalker. On the huge branch, Kia, which was driving at high speed, flashed all the way holding Crook, flashing upwards almost in a straight line. Behind the 2, 3 winding dragons composed of cold light and green leaves pursued closely. Although Kia can't catch up, but Kia can't get rid of it either. No, another one struck overhead. The advantage of the home game is strong. Every 10 seconds, a winding dragon will appear above Kia's head again, charging towards Kia. By now, the pigs had destroyed one without end. This made Kia a little impatient and stopped entangled with these meandering dragons, turned on the super speed, and flashed upwards at the fastest speed while holding Crook. Anyway, these giant dragons can't catch up with him, so go up to see if he can find Jean and the others, and let them help out together. If it doesn't work, then you can only use the space ability to retreat. Playing at home is too bad for him. Soon, Kia boarded a branch again. The moment Kia climbed onto this branch, Kia's eyes swept over habitually, and the next moment, Kia's eyes stopped and did not retract as before. The body also stopped, did not continue to jump up like above, but quickly flashed towards the center of the branch. In Kia's field of vision, the 4 roads are surrounded by small branches, and the figure with only the head is standing quietly. These four are none other than Kim and Netero. President. Crook also noticed and exclaimed, "Tisich, have they even been tricked?" "It's terrifying," Kia murmured with a bad complexion and clenched the corners of her mouth. He could tell at a glance that the four of Netero were also hit by this tree, and none lost consciousness. Kia didn't expect that both Jean and Netero would be recruited. This refreshed Kia's knowledge of the tree again. Fear. This is Kia's current impression of the tree. The world's strongest ninjas, the world's top 5 ninjas, are all planted on this tree. Although I don't know what the tree wants to do by wrapping up a few people in such a way, it is definitely not a good thing. The next moment, Kia's speed increased sharply again, and the whole person flashed past the four of them. Comparable. The faint blue lightning flashed, a series of tearing sounds sounded, and the branches wrapped around the four of them were directly torn by Kia. The four people who lost consciousness slowly fell to the ground. The blue-green light came again, and Kia quickly took over the four of them and pulled them together. As several people were liberated by Kia, the branches shook violently, and endless leaves fell from the top of Kia's head again, gathering into more than a dozen giant dragons, staring at Kia and others, as if the next moment will sweep down in general. Crook, who felt this will, trembled all over his body, and his face was extremely gloomy. "Crook, come down. Pull them over. Hold their hand with one hand. We should withdraw." Kia squatted down and whispered to Crook, letting Crook's hand pung Inda and Potter by our 212 earthly branches. While speaking, Kia took the hands of Netero and Jean. "I see," Crook replied in a low voice. "The current situation is very dangerous. She is very clear." This malice and killing intent more clearly confirmed that the tree they were in was their enemy. Damn human beings, if the old man didn't want to restrain them. "How could I let you come up here?" The towering tree shook violently, and an old and angry voice rang in the ears of Kia and Crook. "Old and immortal is a thief. You, who have lived for more than 1,000 years, seem to have become a thief. You seem to want to do something to them. Moreover, this will as well hidden. With this level of killing intent and malice, the name of the patron saint is useless." Kia raised the corner of his mouth slightly and shouted loudly. When watching this giant tree destroy the lava protection ruins that people fell from the sky before, Kia really regarded this tree as the patron saint of the Cocoa ruins. But now, Kia doesn't believe it at all. Even Kia, feeling this top-down malice, trembled all over at this moment. He had never felt this level of malice, and his body was beyond control. Will an existence with this level of malice and killing intent be a civilization? A patron saint of ruins? You're FG kidding me. It is estimated that the destruction of the 2 civilizations established here is not only related to the volcanic eruption, but also related to this big tree. Ants, since you've arrived here, let's become the nourishment of this old man with them. Kia's words seemed to anger it, and the winding dragon that was eyeing Kia's head rushed down quickly, with a fierce killing spree. Meaning, "Sorry, I don't want to stay here, and I don't want your nourishment either." Of course, you can't get them either. Facing the almost unsolvable attack, Kia was not afraid at all, but a faint mockery appeared on his face. Boom! 980 dozens of winding dragons fell at the same time. A huge explosion sound was transmitted, and gunpowder smoke quickly spread. The scene where the gunpowder smoke dissipated slowly after a long time was not what the guardian god of the Cocoa ruins wanted to see. In the deep pit, there was no figure, not even a trace of blood. This let the guardian god know that the prey he had planned for a long time had escaped. Roar! An earth-shattering roar spread throughout the ruins. The earth shook, and the volcano erupted. Great changes have taken place in the ruins again. On the other side, in Salia City, Kia was staying in the hotel room. A white light flashed, and 6 people appeared in midair out of thin air. The next moment, Kia fell first and hit the white bed. Crook's figure fell from Kia's head and hit Kia's body heavily, and there was an exclamation. Afterwards, the 4 of them also fell down directly, hitting their sides. The weight of the 6 people directly pressed the brand new bed to Yuan Ming. "Woo-woo, Crook, get up quickly. Kia, who was being pressed down by Crook, struggled to speak. I'm sorry. I get up right away, Crook said with a red face. Chapter 79, Creatures of the Dark Continent. That level of malice and killing intent is really terrifying, much scarier than that of old father and grandpa. The malice released by the guardian god of the Cocoa Ruins just now has made Kia shudder until now. That feeling is like being in an abyss, unfathomable. Kia can't even imagine what kind of existence it is. Actually has this kind of malice. At least, the killing intent and malice he felt from his father Silva and grandpa Gino before was far from being comparable to the guardian god in the ruins of Coco. One must know that Father Silva and Grandfather Gino have been killers for decades, and their murderous intent and viciousness are almost unmatched by anyone. Kia is sure that no one can compare with the two heads of the Zoldyck family in this respect, except for the future king and guard of Chimera ants. Well, except for the great-grandfather, who is also from the enemy family after all. However, from the perspective of Kia, who has experienced the will initiation this time, the murderous intent on the father and grandfather is just like pediatrics, and there is no comparison at all. It's no wonder that even Crook, who is a member of the 12 earthly branches, began to tremble after feeling the killing intent. Where did that monster come from? Even after leaving there and returning to Salia City, Crook still couldn't forget that feeling, and his body was still trembling slightly. I don't know, but maybe Jean and the others will know. Kia shook his head and then looked at the four of Jean who were lying on the ground in disarray. Even after leaving the Kekali ruins, the four still haven't woken up enough to see the horror of Nun, the guardian god of the Kekali ruins. If it wasn't for Kia's passing this time and his space ability, it is estimated that these naughty people standing at the top of the world might have lost their lives so silently. Slowly squatting down, Kia's hands emitted a green light, covering the four of them. Following the mobilization of D-Nun, streaks of black gas emerged from their bodies. The next moment, the four of them opened their eyes at the same time and jumped up from the ground. Damn BD, you dare to lie to me. The other three people are all right. They all looked vigilant after waking up. But Inda, who was poaching Hunter, was extremely excited. His eyes were red, and he yelled angrily standing. Cold air surged all over his body. It seems that a powerful trick is about to erupt. When Kia saw this, the corners of his eyes twitched slightly, and then he dodged over, directly pressing him to the floor. If you let him mess around, Kia will have to change another room. Inda, who was pressed to the ground, wanted to resist immediately, and the thoughts in his body became more and more violent. Fortunately, Netero, who woke up, spoke in time. Inda, calm down. With just a simple sentence, Inda calmed down, and his red eyes recovered. President? Where are we? Inda asked blankly. Is that so? After listening to Crook's narration, Netero nodded slowly, understanding the current situation. Afterwards, his eyes turned to Kia. Kia Zoldyck, thank you very much this time. Without you, we might have capsized this time. If there is anything we can come to this old man in the future. Netero thanked me slightly, with a sincere tone. I was really sorry just now. Thank you this time. If you need help with anything, you can come to me. Inda thanked me blankly, with an embarrassed look on his face. Kia Zoldyck, I owe you a favor. In the future, as long as you don't violate any crimes, you can come to me. I will help you once unconditionally. Potter folded his arms and promised loudly. At the same time, he looked at Kia with more kindness. As a terrorist hunter, Potterbow was not kind to Kia when he first met Kia and knew Kia's identity, and even had the intention of attacking Kia. After all, as a killer, Kia is an existence that disrupts social order. As a terrorist hunter, it is also his duty to arrest professional killers. However, he never expected that he would get Kia's help and be saved by Kia. Repay every kindness. This is his way of dealing with the world. Although Kia is a professional killer, it does not prevent him from being kind. At least, before he repays Kia, he will not have any intention of arresting Kia. Not fighting geese all day long. This time I was pecked by geese. It's really shameful, Jean murmured in a low voice with a look of frustration. He has been visiting ruins all over the world for more than 10 years, and he actually capsized in the gutter of the ruins in Kekali. This time, it was really dangerous. The few of them were killed today, and they didn't know anything about being tricked. If Kia hadn't rescued them, they would really have stayed there. It's a small matter. Can you tell me now, what is the situation of the guardian god of the Kekali ruins? Kia nodded slightly, accepted the thank from several people, and then asked Dayu suspiciously. He is still very curious about this, how Netero and the four of them were recruited. With their strength, it should be impossible for them to be recruited. We were deceived. All of this is the result of that guy's painstaking calculations, and it started from the moment Inda touched it. Speaking of this, Netero's good face became serious, and his face full of shadows. Inda and Potter White are the same. That guy is a creature from the Dark Continent. He came from the Dark Continent more than 2,000 years ago, took root in Koko, and supported the two civilizations of Dashu and Koko. However, these two civilizations eventually became nutrients for his growth. Jean took a deep breath, recovered from his frustration, took Netero's words, and began to talk about it. Only after this narration, Kia and Crook understood the cause and effect. Knowing the cause and effect, Kia couldn't help cursing inwardly. At the same time, she couldn't help feeling that ginger is still old and spicy. The patron saint of the Koko ruins can even deceive a 100-year-old fried dough stick like Netero. It is a 1,000-year-old monster that took advantage of Netero and others' trust in it. Chapter 80 Countermeasures. To put it simply, the guardian god of the Koko ruins from the Dark Continent came into contact with Inda by chance, and then began to plan purposefully. Even the volcanic eruption was planned by this guardian god. After doing everything possible to establish a relationship of trust with Inda, the guardian god of the Kekali ruins began to plan, revealing to Inda that the volcanoes in the Kekali ruins will erupt once in 1,000 years, and that it is the ghost of the lava titan, and asking Inda to bring some strong men to stop and destroy the lava titan in the volcano. In fact, these are all movements made by the guardian god himself. The purpose is to attract powerful Nun people to come over, to turn the powerful Nun people into their own nutrients. As for why there are so many Nun people entering the ruins at all times, but the patron saint remains indifferent, that's because this patron saint is already on the verge of advancing. These weak Nun have absorbed enough nutrients over the past 2,000 years, and the nutrients transformed by the weak Nun can no longer have an effect on it. It must be a strong Nun. This is the reason why he planned to use Inda's trust in him to attract Netero and others. As for Kim, this guy was a complete surprise. It was delivered to the door on its own initiative. If it wasn't because the plan was approaching, he would have taken action against Jean alone. 983. These are all what Netero and others saw from their memory when they were in a coma of Nun, and their consciousness was fighting the patron saint. In addition, there's another very important thing. That is, there is another monster in the volcano group at this time. A subordinate of the guardian god. A monster who followed the guardian god from the Dark Continent. A real lava titan has been staying in the highest volcano among the volcanoes. The ones that appeared before were nothing but abandoned children made by it. Although the relationship between the two parties is a superior subordinate relationship, it can be regarded as symbiotic to some extent. As for why a wood attribute monster can take a fire attribute monster as his subordinate, this is all a choice made by the strange biological chain on the Dark Continent. So what should we do now? Kia asked curiously after listening to the stories of Netero, Jean, and others. Hearing this, the four of them were silent and did not open their mouths to answer. More than a minute later, Urtro spoke. This kind of existence must be eliminated and cannot be left alone. Since he can come from the Dark Continent, it means that he can walk on the land at will. He didn't succeed this time. The old man estimates that this monster will never let it go and walk out of the ruins. It will be a disaster for Tech, other countries, and the whole world. Although it is only a struggle between consciousnesses, Netero is very clearly the strength of the patron saint is very powerful. More importantly, the patron saint is really cruel. Cultivated two civilizations. And when these two civilizations were at their peak, they did not hesitate to launch disasters, turning the two civilizations into nutrients for their own strengthening. This kind of character is vicious and vicious. He can't guarantee whether the guardian god will come out of the cocoa ruins in a frenzy after he misses and attack the whole world. Indeed, personally cultivating two civilizations and then turning them into nutrients without any mercy, this method is really chilling. Jean nodded in agreement. If we fight together, we should be able to eliminate him. But the premise is that we can resist his powerful spirit nun. Although we were recruited because of carelessness before, if we are more cautious, we should be able to resist with our mental strength. However, it is undeniable that the spiritual ability of this old monster that has survived for thousands of years is very strong. It's very disadvantageous to resist the spirit nun while fighting at the same time. At least half of our strength will not be able to be used, and it is impossible to eliminate it. Jean frowned. After thinking about it carefully, he spoke. Do you want reinforcements? Finally, Jean looked at Netero and asked aloud. It's about the Dark Continent. I think it's necessary to report this matter to V5 and let them make a decision. Potterby also spoke, but he didn't think about how to eliminate it. Guardian, but another thing is considered, that is V5. V5 is an organization composed of the 5 strongest countries and has the status of leading the world. The Hunter Association must also act according to their instructions. In order to prevent BJCH, the harm from the Dark Continent, and to prevent people from having the opportunity to privately enjoy the huge benefits that the Dark Continent may bring, an agreement to block the Dark Continent was concluded 200 years ago, and the members of the organization exclusively shared the Dark Continent all information and interests. All news about the Dark Continent must be discussed and decided by V5. This is the strength of the 5 major powers in the world. Indeed, but the incident happened suddenly, and the time is not allowed. Old man, I will report this matter to V5 and observe the situation before that. Once the 2 monsters make a move, even if V5 does not communicate the decision, we must take action. Indeed, it's what we should do to prevent it before it happens. Potter nodded in agreement. Netero nodded slightly and left the room to report the information to V5. However, soon, CNTI returned. Then, let's discuss now how to deal with that monster's spirit nun. In the room, the discussion officially started. Kia just said that he was able to save us because he has the ability to eliminate thoughts. So he is immune to the spirit nun of that monster. Crook was able to follow in and didn't pass out because she held Kia's hand the whole time and was covered by Kia's nun, so she was fine. Excluding nun is an excellent way to restrain that monster's spirit nun. But none of us can exclude nun, and we can't let Kia always follow us and touch our bodies. Even if it's possible, Kia can't be a clone. When he said this, he got a blank stare from Kia. Even if it can be what the hell, you guys are thinking about farting. Besides, is there any way for us to ignore that monster's spirit nun and fight it with all our strength? Everyone was lost in thought and began to think about how to do it. Only Kia, with an attitude of nothing to do with himself, sat on the edge of the bed with his legs crossed, watching the few people, thinking boredly. Well, I have an idea here. I don't know if it will work. Crook, who was a little transparent, said after thinking for a moment. As soon as these words came out, Jean and the others looked over immediately, with scorching eyes, motioning for Crook to come up with her solution. Crook couldn't take it anymore, so he directly talked about his method. I'm a plant hunter, and I like plants very much, so I often go out to find some rare plants and transplant them back. The conditions for transplanting many plants are very harsh, and they will wither and wither if you don't pay attention. In order to perfectly transplant these plants, I practiced a kind of materialized Nun.Y storage locket. Storage lockets are perfect for storing anything regardless of the elements. In addition, the storage box can also store Nun. After putting the Nun in, the storage box will have its same Nun. I'm thinking if I materialize a few small storage boxes and ask Kia to release a portion of Nun in the small storage boxes, and then you can do it with the small storage boxes that store the Nun. Is that spirit gone? Chapter 81. Hey, since you have this ability, why didn't you say it earlier in the ruins, just now? It made me hold you for so long. Jean and the others began to think about the feasibility after hearing Crook's answer. But Kia, it was Crook who complained in a low voice. Crook's blood pressure soared after saying this. Why? You're not happy about letting you hug me, a big beauty. Crook growled fiercely and bared his teeth, regardless of his image. There seemed to be a terrifying, evil ghost figure behind him, and Kia was stunned for a while. Kia twitched the corner of his mouth and said, "No, no. Then it's okay. It's cheap and good-looking." Withdrawing his indecent expression, Crook said with a displeased expression, "Besides, at that time, the situation was short of time. Your speed is so fast, and my speed can't keep up with you at all." Kia's dry eyes were triggered again, and Luke still opened his mouth to explain why he was in the ruins. He didn't tell Kia the reason for his ability. "Oh." Kia nodded blankly. "Kia, the old man thinks that the method Crook said is feasible. Can you please cooperate with the experiment?" At this time, the pensive Netero raised his head and said to Kia, "Ah, no problem." Kia looked back, blinked, and did not refuse. "Then, Crook, let's start." Seeing that Kia agreed, Netero looked at Crook and said, "Yes, Mr. President." Crook nodded, and then began to materialize the storage box she mentioned. I saw Crook stretching out his hand, and the thoughts in his body were surging, gradually gathering in his palm. Within a second, a small frame was formed, and then quickly materialized, turning into a small antique box the size of a palm. Crook stretched out the small box in front of Kia and said, "Okay, put your mind-eliminating power in it." Kia nodded slightly, and directly used Ki Nun. A ball of emerald green light appeared in Kia's hands. Kia frowned slightly, and then used materialization to materialize this ball of Nun into a small jade. Kia put this piece of jade in, and the storage was automatically closed. The next moment, emerald green light appeared on the body surface of the storage box, exuding a faint fluorescence. "Come and try. Who has the Nun that can act on others?" Netero looked at the small box in Crook's hand and said with a heavy expression, "Let me come. I have a Nun that binds others. Who will be my test subject?" Inda stood up and said in a daze. A mass of purple Nun had already appeared in his hand. "Come on, old man." Netero nodded, ready to accept to be the experimental subject himself. But Potterby stood up at this time. "Okay." Inda didn't hesitate and directly drove the purple cold ability into Potter's body. Potter's whole body trembled suddenly, and then his whole body was like a stone sculpture, motionless. He couldn't even speak. Only the eyeballs of his eyes were rolling. Seeing this, Crook directly put the small storage box into Potter's white hand, letting him clench tightly. The next moment, an emerald green light flashed, covering Potter White, and Potter White trembled again, as if he breathed a sigh of relief. He raised the small storage box in his hand and looked at it. When Inda's Nun hit him just now, he felt as if his body had been petrified, unable to move, until Crook put the box in his hand, and the green light on the box covered his whole body the moment he was able to move. "It seems possible." Potterby gave the answer lightly. However, at this moment, the emerald green light on the surface of the storage box went out directly. The whole box became antique again. Before Netero and the others were happy, they were stunned, and then they all looked at Kia, wanting to get an answer from Kia. "Look at me. You ask Inda. His restraint ability is very strong, and the exorcism I allocated just now was consumed in an instant." Seeing everyone's eyes on him, Kia shrugged his shoulders, saying that it was none of my business, and I will not take the blame. Asked for flowers as soon as these words came out, Netero and the others frowned slightly, and then began to ponder again. Seeing this, Crook looked at Kia speechlessly. He knew that Kia's mind energy was very powerful, and it was no problem to deal with Nun, the guardian god of the ruins. "Kia, what's your limit?" Netero pondered for a moment, then raised his head and asked Kia, "Why?" Kia didn't answer, but asked with some vigilance, "Do you want to accept the task?" Netero was silent for a while, then grinned. He figured it out. This guy Kia is the one who doesn't see the rabbit and doesn't throw the eagle. If there is no benefit, he will not shoot casually. Sure enough, as soon as these words came out, Kia's vigilance disappeared all of a sudden, and she stroked her chin and began to think carefully. The people present were speechless when they saw this scene. Jean laughed out loud, while Crook covered his forehead helplessly, not wanting to see Kia's face. Inda and Potter stared at Kia curiously, wanting to see what kind of person Kia was. 5 billion nuns. I will give you 4 none that can resist that monster for 1 hour. Kia completely ignored everyone's reactions, and after thinking for a moment, he gave a reply. 1 hour? That's enough, then. I'm going to release the task. Netero pondered for a moment, then said, pick up the phone and start to operate with ease. The faces of the people present were strange. Potter said the terrorist hunter frowned as he watched Netero post missions on the Zoldyck family's dark web. Received, don't worry, I will be ready before tonight. After receiving the task from the website, Kia promised with a smile. Then the president, what about mine? In order to complete your order, I hired this kid after spending 20 billion rings. Crook interjected. You have not. Crook, small. Chapter 82 elbow, turnout. Damn old man, why don't you reimburse me? In the corridor, Crook and Kia walked side by side. Crook was gnashing his teeth, his eyes were fierce, as if he wanted to eat people. Kia at the side was secretly happy to see Crook like this. The old guy Netero is really an old fritter. No matter what Crook says, he just won't reimburse him. He also said that as a member of the 12 earthly branches of the Hunter Association, this kind of thing is what she should do. It was dismissed in one sentence, and Crook couldn't refute it all, because the existence of the 12 earthly branches is to manage the association on behalf of Netero when something happens. Netero is right. Boy, why don't you return the 20 billion ring nuns to me? And you can ask the old man for it. Suddenly, Crook thought of something, turned his head, and said to Kia, 313 Kia, what the hell are you thinking about farting? Kia didn't speak, but just stared at Crook expressionlessly and said silently in his heart. Being stared at by Kia, Crook also realized that he was very embarrassed, knowing that his request was too outrageous. I was so angry that I said such inappropriate words, old man. However, why are you coming out with me? Crook said with some doubts when the topic changed. It's the same as you. My room is in such a mess. I might as well give it to Gene and his 4 elders. I'll go to the front desk and change another room. Kia shrugged and said, when I teleported back just now, because the distance was too far and there were too many people teleporting, I fell directly from the midair of the room. The bed was almost crushed and the room became a mess. Kia simply thought about leaving that room to Netero and the others and opened another room by herself. Cut, that's how it is. Crook heard the words, cut a sound, and nodded in response. Besides, it also needs your help to make the mind-eliminating props for Gene and the others. Kia didn't care about Crook's anger at this time, smiled slightly, and said again, except that none is different from the orthodox nun. Once it is too far or too long away from Kia, the nun, it will disappear. It's the same even if Kia can materialize it. Of course, this is the limitation of Kia's ability to eliminate none. Maybe other people's ability to eliminate none can reach it. And Crook's storage box can ignore any bad influences and perfectly preserve accept none. This is the most critical. If accept none wasn't so special, Kia could do it by herself. Just use the realized none directly to hand over the ready-made props or items, accept none to the 4 of them. However, none is like this, with all kinds of strange things, capable of displaying unstoppable power, but also has all kinds of strange restrictions. That's right. Let's go. Hurry up and open the room, and then the 2 of us will make the anti-mind props as soon as possible. Speaking of this, Crook's expression became serious and serious. The monster patron saint in the Cocoa Ruins will come out at any time, and the sooner this thing that can ensure that the president and the others can fight against that monster normally, the better. Well, let's go. Kia nodded and agreed. Soon, the 2 opened a room at the front desk. Kia and Crook came to Crook's room and began to work together to create the props, talismans, for dispelling orders. To say it is a joint effort, it is better to say that Kia is using none throughout the whole process. Crook just made 4 small storage boxes and waited for Kia to make enough in Neenan and put them into the small storage boxes. Time passed slowly, and more than 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, Kia's immature face was covered with sweat, and her complexion was extremely pale. Crook on the side looked a little distressed. Regardless of Kia's behavioral strength, Kia looks like a young boy now. At this age, that immature face is pale and weak. This situation is enough to make any woman's motherhood overflow. Even Crook, the proud plant hunter, is no exception. Let's take a break first. Kia, it doesn't need to be made in one go. Crook said worriedly. Although Kia said it was very easy before, it does not mean that the real situation is easy. The spirit nun of the guardian spirit of that monster is very powerful. And to create an hour-long extermination nun that resists its spirit nun requires a huge amount of mental energy. A 1-hour mind removal tool consumes about 40,000 mind energy. For his 160,000, which can almost empty Kia's current potential capacity. 2 hours of uninterrupted output of large volume Nian Qi directly consumed more than 6 layers of Nian Qi in Kia's body, and the consumption of Nian Qi was far behind the recovery. That's not to mention, the recovery of Nian Qi also consumes Kia's body. Using Nian Qi continuously for 2 hours, the body's continuous recovery of Nian Qi is also a heavy burden on Kia's body. This also directly caused Kia's face to turn pale, because without Kia, the body cannot be supplemented. Hearing Crook's words, Kia also stopped the action of making mind-eliminating props in a timely manner. "Crook, help me order some dinner," Kia said weakly. "It has been called, and it will be here in a while." Crook replied. Soon, the hotel service staff arrived at Crook's room, pushing several dining cars. The dinner was set up quickly, and as soon as the service staff left, Kia began to gobble it up. In less than 20 minutes, 5 dinners were wiped out by Kia alone. Satisfied, Kia patted the unchanged belly of 4.6 and slapped his belly hard. This kind of thing is really not done by human beings. I feel that I have lost money. Sitting on the floor, Kia propped his hands back on the floor, looking at the 3 fluorescent storage boxes on the counter, slightly sighed. After receiving supplementation, her complexion also became slightly rosy. 50 billion monies are still a loss. Boy, you really fell into the eyes of money. Crook heard this. The corner of his mouth twitched, feeling speechless at Kia's words. However, at the next moment, Crook thought of something, his eyes lit up, and then he squatted down mysteriously. "Hey boy, why don't you go ask the old man for an extra 20 billion, and each of us will have half of the 20 billion. Crook said in a low voice. Kia, turn your elbows outward. Chapter 83. Kia's thoughts after resting for an hour and recovering 2 layers of Nian Qi. Kia started working again. This time it was finished very quickly. Because it was just a career relationship, Kia was not as exhausted as before. It's done. Putting down the box in his hand, Kia exhaled softly. Afterwards, Kia couldn't wait to take out her mobile phone, ready to complete the task. Are you really not going to accept my suggestion? Otherwise, I only need 5 billion. Crook looked at Kia's actions and said again unwillingly. Kia glanced at her with a slightly strange expression. This arm is a bit serious. Being watched by Kia, Crook's face remained unchanged. Now she just wants to cheat Netero and make up for her loss, by the way. Do you think Netero's old fritters will be fooled? Kia shrugged, said, and then clicked to complete the task neatly. Not long after Kia completed the task, Netero called. Kia, have you finished? I finished 19. I will send it later, Kia replied. Okay, but send it directly outside the ruins. We're coming here. Netero reminded on the phone. After speaking, Netero hung up the phone. I'll go, you old boy. You rushed over so quickly, Kia said in surprise. After all, he is the president of the Hunter Association. The Hunter Association has the responsibility to deal with these natural hazards. As the president, it is natural to take the lead. Crook was not surprised at all. Okay, I see. Then I'll go over now. Well, let's go. I'll go with you. Crook stood up and said, Are you going too? Although the strength is not strong, I'm also one of the 12 earthly branches of the association. Since I am here, I can't stay out of it. Crook frowned, dissatisfied with Kia's opinion of him. It's up to you, but I don't think you seem to be able to play a role in the past. Crook, my old lady doesn't send cats. You think I am critically ill. Bah. If I don't show off my power, you will treat me as a sick cat. Crook looked at Kia with extreme displeasure. As a 12 earthly branch, she was underestimated by Kia to such an extent. Just wait and see. Crook didn't say much, just dropped this sentence. Regarding this, Kia didn't say anything either. He was just joking just now, and Crook, who is a member of the 12 earthly branches, naturally cannot be weak. The two set off directly, rushing in the direction of Kukeli. In less than an hour, the two arrived at the periphery of the Kekeli ruins. At this point, the place has changed drastically. It was completely gone, replaced by a billowing magma sea. The whole outside the plain is a rocky basin, and the magma has already crossed the plain and initially spread into this basin. However, because of the relationship of the basin, the speed of spreading is extremely slow. Kia and Crook, who arrived here, soon discovered Netero and others. At this time, Netero and the others were standing on a natural stone pillar, quietly observing the movement ahead. As for the Take army and the hunters staying here, they have already evacuated at this time. Kia and Crook had already met them on the way here. Both military and professional hunters have received orders from Netero to retreat. As the president of the Hunter Association, Netero has quite a lot of power. Although he can't command those big countries, it is more than enough for a small country like Tech. Here you are that Yin box was made so soon. Netero was using his unique telescopic ability to observe the situation of the Relic Canyon. After feeling the breath of Kia and Crook, he turned his head. Let's talk. Yeah. The two nodded. Crook took a step forward and handed one of the small boxes of mind-removing to Netero, and then jumped a few times, sending the others to Jean, Inda, and Potter by respectively. What's the situation now? The monster inside hasn't moved? Kia squatted down, put his hands on his knees, looked at the Relic Canyon in front of him, and asked curiously. The evening wind blew past slowly, stirring up Kia's silver hair. That monster didn't move, but the magma monster in the volcano group rioted several times. You have also seen the consequences of the eruption. This plain has been fully invaded, and magma has spread here. Netero replied lightly, stroking his beard. Hearing this, Kia was not surprised. Looking at the entrance of the Relic Canyon in the distance, his eyes narrowed slightly, and there was an occasional cold light in the narrowed eyes. What kid? Do you want to do it too? Jean Ku at the side noticed Kia's situation at 910 and asked amusedly. I have this idea, Kia said without hiding anything when she heard the words. I'm a little curious about the lava titan you were talking about. Hey, do you know how strong that lava titan is? Kia turned to several people and asked. The lava hearts left after the abandoned suns were destroyed are rare treasures. I don't know what will be obtained by killing the lava titan's main body. Kia is very interested in this. Weaker than me, probably about the same as you. If you make a move, the outcome is uncertain. Jean squeezed his chin, pondered for a few seconds, and then gave an ambiguous answer. Ho ho, boy, if you are willing to make a move, I can continue to issue tasks for you. How about it, 20 billion nuns? Seeing Kia's interested look, Netero smiled and said, if Kia can also take action to deal with it together, then things should be much easier. Although he has never seen Kia's strength, but from Kia's incomparably tough, steel-like spirit, Netero can confirm that Kia's strength is very strong. Let me think about it. Kia still squinted her eyes and didn't answer directly. Chapter 84, Familiar Plan, a creature from the Dark Continent. I didn't expect that I would come into contact with it so early. It's really an impermanent world. With her eyes squinted and blown by the night wind, Kia's heart was peaceful without any waves. Originally, Kia thought that she would be excited and jump for joy. Knowing the existence of chimeric ants, I have a deep understanding of the existence of creatures on the Dark Continent, which can be compared with the senior hunters in this world. It is a super version of the world where natural selection and survival of the fittest. And the creatures coming from there have a very special meaning to any hunter who understands the Dark Continent. Although Kia is not a hunter with this kind of existence, everything he knew in his previous life made Kia feel the same about the existence of chimera ants and the creatures of the Dark Continent as hunters who pursue the unknown. The enthusiasm for the existence of creatures in the Dark Continent is not weaker than that of the hunters. Now, having such an opportunity to face the creatures from the Dark Continent, Kia originally thought that there would be a drastic change in her heart. However, it was incredible that his heart would be so peaceful. Is it because I'm not God's perspective now, but the reason for the real participation? If I, who is God's vision, discover the creatures of the dark continent, then I may be excited, cheering, and unable to control myself. However, when they really encountered each other, there was a world of difference. If I really participate, then under the threat of these terrifying creatures from the dark continent, it will represent a crisis that I may fall at any time. That's why my heart is so peaceful. Because I have to be calm. This is not the animation of my previous life, but reality. Even though I'm interested in dark creatures, the threat of life forces me not to have this kind of excitement that I shouldn't have. Because there's only one life. I have to be careful. Kia slowly opened his eyes and whispered, "How about it? How do you think about it?" The moment Kia opened his eyes, Jin's voice came from his side. "My suggestion is that you agree to the old man's proposal, because there are not many opportunities to fight against dark creatures. Kia, let me hear your plan first. If the plan is feasible, I can make a move." Kia glanced at him, then looked at Netero and Inda Potter and said indifferently, "It seems that you already have the answer, so let me tell you the plan I made." Netero smiled relaxedly, and then began to talk about the plan made by himself and Jean. After hearing Netero's plan, Kia couldn't help but twitch his lips, because he always felt that this plan was very familiar. After thinking carefully for a while, Kia finally knew why he felt familiar. What the hell? Separate the lava titan and the ruins, guardian god. Fighting on both sides. Isn't this the plan you used to deal with ants when you were Chimera ants? In the Chimera ant chapter, you old man just let your apprentices and grandsons and gone wait for the opportunity to distract the guards, and then go straight to Huanglong. This time, the candidate has been changed, and you let Inda, a simple man, attract monsters, and you are no longer fighting alone. Are you sure? Kia frowned slightly, confirming to Inda. Don't worry, I will definitely be able to lure that monster over, and then I will tear that monster into pieces. Inda's expression was no longer simple and honest, but extremely fierce. Obviously, he has been brooding about the fact that the guardian god of the ruins deceived himself and blocked himself and others. Inda is a typical honest person. If you don't mess with him, he will communicate with you in a friendly, even friendly way, but once you mess with him, sorry, the anger of an honest person will burn you up. Not to mention, still cheating. At that time, the old man, Potterby, and Jean will deal with that monster, and you, Inda and Crook, will deal with the one in the volcano. Netero said with a serious expression. Before, there were only Inda and Crook, and the old man was still a little worried. But if you were added, the old man's confidence in this round of siege would greatly increase. The old man and the others assure you that they will definitely wipe out that monster. I also hope that the three of you one can turn that monster in the volcano into ashes. Potterby also spoke, staring at Kia solemnly, and said seriously. In other words, he expressed his trust in Kia, as if he regarded Kia as his own. Don't treat me with this attitude. I'm a killer. I'm not on the same side with you. I only act according to the task. Kia pouted speechlessly. Despite Kia's attitude, the attitude of several people towards Kia has not changed. From when Kia went deep into the ruins to face the monster and rescued them, they were enough to regard Kia as one of their own. Old man, how much is the remuneration? Kia looked at Netero and asked. Netero's eyes lit up immediately, and then asked back, "How much reward do you want?" 5 billion. Kia narrowed his eyes slightly, and then gave the price. Deal. Netero agreed directly. The corners of Crook's eyes twitched while watching, envious. At her peak, she was worth more than 40 billion yuan, and now she is only worth more than 20 billion yuan. This old guy is fine. He doesn't feel bad about spending money like running water. After coming here, more than 100 billion has been spent. Also, that BD Jean was also spending 200 billion in Ping Yuan before. Ruins Hunter so rich? It's up to me whether I want to change my career to Relic Hunter or not. Crook was a little envious and jealous to the point of madness, and even began to think about whether he wanted to change his job to Relic Hunter, because the development of the relic was forgotten. No, this kid has even more wealth. He has earned hundreds of billions in just 2 days. I have to find a chance to get some from him. Kia didn't know what Crook was thinking at all. At this moment, after Kia heard Netero being so straightforward, he was thinking whether his asking price was too little. Judging by the old guy's ability to spread money, this guy's worth is estimated to be high. Will be worse than gold. Haha, boy, you really have a soft spot for money. Jean laughed loudly. Kia gave him a blank stare. Good jow. You eat enough for one person, and the whole family is not hungry. And you don't know that wealth is expensive. I'm going to inherit Zoldyck in the future. Money is needed in every aspect. If you don't earn money, you're ABD. When Netero heard this, he stroked his beard and laughed. And Jean also shook his head with a smile. Even Hunter, a scrupulous terrorist like Potterby, had a slight smile on his face when he heard it. The kid's character doesn't seem too bad to be Zoldyck's future boss. By the way, old man Netero, since the three of you are going to deal with that monster, why do you need 4 anti-mine props? Kia suddenly thought of something and asked curiously. Well, there must be a backup. As a contingency, if we can eliminate that monster within a limited time, then the remaining one will come in handy. Netero smiled and replied. Hearing this, Kia frowned and understood. The extra one is the backhand who evacuated and ran away if he couldn't beat it. Chapter 85 Special Feedback. Hey, Crook, tell me, can Indao really attract the monsters from the volcano? On the rock pillar, Kia crossed his arms and leaned against the rock wall, asking softly to Crook beside him. At this time, only Kia and Crook were left in the rocky basin. As for Netero and Jean, the 4 have already entered the ruins at this time. It should be possible. As a poaching hunter, Indao naturally has his own abilities. His ability has the effect of confusing, and he should be able to attract that monster. Crook nodded, trusting Indao very much. How do you know? Kia looked at Crook strangely. Of course he said it himself. As a poaching hunter, Indao often enters various secret places and protected areas to catch those poachers. At the same time, in order to send back those poached animals, he specially cultivated this kind of ability, keeps animals and eudemons from being restless, rioting, and returning to their original places safely. And the ability to restrain them before is also cultivated because of professional needs. The 12 earthly branches of Inda, including the president, know about Inda's ability, so the president made this plan. Because President 013 is also very confident in Inda's ability and believes that Inda will not disappoint his expectations. Crook replied lightly, so that's how it is. It really fits his professional ability. Kia nodded with emotion. Many hunters practice abilities that are closely related to their hunter profession when they practice none. Inda and I are obvious chestnuts. You, then what is your ability? Kia asked curiously after hearing the words. I saw Crook use none in the ruins Guardian God before, but it was just a simple attack with Nyan Ki. I haven't seen the ability of Crook's own cultivation. You'll find out later. Crook glanced at Kia and said perfunctorily, looks like that. The 3 of us won't be able to cooperate later. We can only fight on our own. Kia shrugged and said, without knowing their respective abilities, it is impossible to cooperate in battle. However, Kia is not surprised. Maybe it would be better, BJBH, not to cooperate. As long as their combat experience is rich enough, it doesn't matter if they don't know they're none. By the way, Crook, you also have a way to run on the magma. Kia suddenly thought of something, looked at Crook with strange eyes and said, he saw with his own eyes just now that the 4 of them showed their abilities one by one, running freely in the magma without any harm. Well, yes, but it takes a lot of thought energy. Crook was slightly taken aback and then replied, if you have the ability, let me run with you in my arms. After getting the answer, Kia suddenly became upset and the corners of her mouth twitched slightly. This guy has the ability to walk on his own and let himself run with her. I've said it all, it's very exhausting. It's okay for a short time, but I can't do it for a long time. Crook saw Kia's expressionless facial paralysis. He was right, and explained directly. Then how can Jean and the others? Kia asked back. You compare me to those monsters? Crook was speechless for a moment. That is to say, you can't compare with them. Kia felt relieved. Although I'm very unwilling, I really can't compare with them. In terms of energy, Even Inda is better than me. Crook nodded slightly and said, with an unhappy expression, although they belong to the same 12 earthly branches, she really can't compare with these monsters in terms of strong thoughts. The battery life is too weak. Kia nodded, expressing her understanding. It's you, boy. Why is the yin ki in your body so terrifying at such a young age? When she and Kia were making the yin ki box together, she witnessed Kia's terrifying latent energy and powerful manifesting energy with her own eyes. She can't compare with Kia at all. I don't know about the displayed strength, but in terms of potential strength, she is far inferior to Kia. Kia's potential capacity is estimated to be comparable to that of Inda. Secret, Kia said with a slight smile. Crook wasn't angry either, and she just asked casually. Naturally, this kind of thing can't be easily answered. After all, he and Kia are not close, and he realizes that it is only a little over 2 days now. It's a ghost that Kia can answer this question to himself. Your potential energy is not very strong because your physique is relatively weak. Kia looked at Crook carefully and then said, I can't help it. I'm a girl, and the Nun system is not an enhancer. Crook also knows her own shortcomings, and she has nothing to do about it. I'll give you something nice. It's a gift from our acquaintance. Kia continued to look at Crook a few times and said when he saw that Crook was about to lose his temper, So good? What is it? Crook, who was stared at by Kia and was about to throw a temper tantrum, immediately frowned and said in disbelief, Well, it's your reward for hiring me and making me a fortune, Kia said with a smile. Then he directly took a few drops of Millennium Stone milk from the system space, put it in a small bottle, and then threw it over. Seeing a small bottle flying over, Crook hastily reached out to take it. This is Millennium Stone milk. Taking it and exercising can quickly strengthen a person's physique. For a person with a weak constitution like you, it is a rare treasure, Kia said lightly. It's a special reward for the mission. Can this enhance your physique? Crook looked at the bottle in his hand and murmured in a low voice. Immediately, she looked at Kia and said suspiciously, You just take this. That's why you have such a powerful force in your urine. Physical. No, I did this by myself. Kia shook his head and Goldfinger gave it. Crook heard the words, but did not continue to ask, looked at the bottle in his hand, and put it away. Here we come. At this moment, Kia said suddenly. When Crook heard the words, his whole body shivered immediately, and he looked over. I saw a titan burning with raging flames rushing towards them quickly. In front of him, Inda's burly figure was jumping at an extremely fast speed. Chapter 86, Don't Mess With It. Don't mess with it. The huge body was rampaging, and the ground shook violently, just like a large army pressing down on the ground. The flames surged and swept in all directions. The lava titan attracted by Inda is completely different for the previous ones. Just because the body has become more than 20 meters high, it is almost a real titan. The whole body is also burning with flames that are enough to distort the air. Every time the huge lava titan attacks, it will set off a huge flame field, and the scorching heat wave will continue to spread, causing the surrounding temperature to rise continuously. Under the sweep of this heat wave, the plain that had become peaceful because the magma has calmed down once again, huge movement. The scorching heat wave swept across. The entire plain was fiery red. The air was sticky and heavy. Everything in Kia's and others' field of vision began to distort under the sweep of this heat wave, which shows how high the temperature of the entire plain is at this time. An ordinary person or even a warrior stepping into this kind of place would probably be burned, go into shock, or even die under the sweeping heat wave in less than a second. Even Kia and others, swept by this heat wave, gradually began to sweat at this time. And Inda, who brought the lava titan over, was already sweating profusely. His shaggy hair was already soaked in sweat, and his big thick mouth was pale and shriveled. It was a sign of serious dehydration. Too bad. Inda won't be able to last long if this goes on. Crook's expression turned pale when he saw this scene, and while his thoughts were surging, the pair of decorative wings behind him turned into a pair of clean, white wings. Crook slapped hard, and the whole person turned into an afterimage and shot out in an instant. After that, a muffled sound came out, and a sonic boom exploded in midair. Seeing this, Kia narrowed his eyes slightly. It's very explosive. Crook's speed is not fast, but her explosive power is enough to compare with Kia. Compared with Kia's speed, it just lacks that flexibility. I saw that Crook, who was shot out, suddenly appeared in front of the lava titan, and a 2-meter-long green whip appeared in his hand, emitting a faint green fluorescence. Facing the lava, the titan drew over. The moment it was pulled out, the long green whip quickly rose against the wind, and in just 2 seconds, it turned into a huge vine about 2 meters thick and 10 meters long. In a blink of an eye, the lava titan was bound up. The footsteps of the lava titan stopped suddenly, and the boiling water struggled. Inda, take this opportunity, hurry up to Kia's side. I have prepared a lot of water there. You go and replenish it. Crook used his thoughts to restrain the lava titan, and at the same time, he was facing Inda shouted. Seeing this, Inda didn't hesitate, and his 300-gene fat man nimbly charged towards Kia. Seeing Inda rushing over, Kia shook his head slightly and threw out several buckets of water that Crook had prepared long ago. Seeing this, Inda hurriedly reached out to catch it, then directly tore open the package and started shopping. At the same moment, a blue electric light flashed away from Inda's side. Kia also joined the battle at this moment. However, before joining the battle, he took out a few drops of 1,000-year-old stone milk and swallowed them. Millennium stone milk, exercise after swallowing, can strengthen your body. In addition, the effect of fierce fighting after swallowing the Millennium Stone milk will be better, more than twice the effect of exercising the body. Crook, swallow the one I gave you earlier. Kia, who dodged in the battlefield, struck the bound lava titan with a lightning strike, and then shouted at Crook. Crook was taken aback when he heard this, and without hesitation, he directly took out the small bottle that Kia gave him before and drank the 1,000-year stone milk in it. The next moment, Crook felt a powerful power zone emerge in his body. This energy is completely different from the essence of Nian Qi, and Crook doesn't know what kind of power it is. All he knew was that this power was slowly merging with his body, and with the first power merging, Crook clearly knew that his body had become a little stronger. Crook's eyes lit up immediately, and he was overjoyed. Immediately afterwards, Kia's voice came again. Taking Millennium Stone milk to fight will speed up the body's refining of Millennium Stone milk. Crook, don't miss this opportunity. Understood. Thank you. I owe you a favor, Kia. Crook looked extremely excited and promised to Kia. She could feel that as she used her mind energy, the huge energy in her body was gradually merging with her body, making her physique stronger. As long as this huge amount of energy is refined, one's physique will be at least doubled. Crook is extremely grateful to Kia now. What she lacks the most is the potential energy. If her physique is doubled, the potential energy in her body will increase by at least 10,000. The next moment, a big battle broke out directly. Crook looked extraordinarily crazy, and there were bursts of crackling sounds as the long whip in his hand was waving, as if the air had been ripped apart. Kia could see the corners of his mouth twitching, and he called a tigress in his heart. Every time the long whip in Crook's hand is swung, it will turn into a huge vine, and at the same time, it will also flash with different lights. Each light represents a special ability. The previous green light represented restraint, and it was precisely because of this energy that Crook was able to restrain the huge and terrifying lava titan as a weakling. But this time, the vine that Crook swung in his hand was another color, black. With a frightening pumping sound, it slammed down on the lava titan. However, this time, Crook's attack was unable to hit. Lava Titan's huge body displayed a flexible posture that didn't match its body at all, quickly dodged Crook's blow, and appeared behind him, attacking him. As soon as the scorching heat wave appeared behind Crook, a little bit of white smoke appeared from the pair of wings on Crook's back that supported Crook's flight. The wings behind Crook are specially made, with Crook's Nianki defense. But even so, it still couldn't resist the terrifying high temperature on the lava titan, as if it would burn at any time. Don't even think about succeeding. Facing the extreme speed of the lava titan, Crook didn't panic at all. His soft body turned around at the inconceivable speed. The long legs held by the dancer directly, it just hit the lava titan with one kick. A huge muffled sound came out, and the powerful force contained in Crook's kick directly kicked the lava titan back 4 or 5 meters. There were heavy, thunderous sounds on the ground under the trampling of the lava titan. Seeing this scene, Kia's face twitched again. This guy can't tell at all that such a frail body has such terrifying strength. Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Immediately, Kia didn't just stare blankly. The lightning in his hand crashed down on the retreating lava titan. Chapter 87, Full Blow. After kicking the lava titan away with one kick, Crook frowned slightly, and a trace of pain flashed across his brow. After kicking the lava titan just now, she felt a heart-piercing pain from the soles of her feet. That is the pain that occurs when you're scalded by severe heat. Her Nyan Ki couldn't defend against the terrifying high temperature on the lava titan at all. At this moment, the foot that kicked the lava titan was extremely red. It seems that it's not good for me to be head-on. Crook came to a conclusion silently. Her mental energy was not enough to support her to fight head-on with the lava titan in front of her. However, as soon as he came to a conclusion, Crook felt a change in his body. The heart-piercing pain disappeared quickly, and the red burns on the soles of the feet also disappeared completely. Crook could feel that the energy in his body merged with his body once again from 910. My physique has also strengthened again. Injury can make my body speed up the speed of digesting these energies, Crook murmured in a low voice. But immediately, her face became weird. Is this trying to make me a masochist? Crook, am not a masochist. Crook's eyelids twitched slightly, and then the long whip in his hand swung out again. However, as soon as he swung it out, the long whip in Crook's hand was destroyed by a terrifying force, and his whole body was also thrown away. Roar! A roar came out, and the lava titan roared angrily, and the violent sound waves with flames turned into a terrifying flame impact and spread to the surroundings. Not only did it destroy Crook's attack and the weapon that he realized, but he also completely destroyed the rock pillars within a radius of 100 meters around him. Inda, who was drinking water, was also affected by this terrifying shock. Unable to guard against it, his whole body was directly thrown out. The few buckets of water that survived were also destroyed because of this. They fell from the sky and fell on the magma, and were quickly melted, not even having time to turn into gas. It happened. Seeing this scene, Crook was shocked. This is her equipment for emergency use, because she is afraid that the situation that Inda just had happened to herself and others. Unexpectedly, it was destroyed at the beginning. Fighting with this kind of monsters, the water consumption on their bodies will be very intense, and it is easy to cause accidents. Once the body's water is insufficient, let alone fighting, it will be difficult to keep yourself from passing out. Kia also frowned at this time. As for the high temperature on the lava titan, Kia was not affected at all because he has a very strong resistance to fire attributes. Although the temperature on the lava titan was terrifying, it didn't have much impact on him. Just some sweat. And as time went on, he could feel himself getting used to the temperature. Perhaps in a few minutes, he will not be affected at all. This is his passive ability of fire attribute resistance, ability to quickly adapt to negative effects associated with fire. However, although the high temperature had no effect on Kia, the roar of this guy made Kia's eardrums very unbearable. There was a hint of pain on his face. Nima, the voices of those tigresses are not as loud or sharp as yours. The next moment, Kia's figure turned into a bolt of lightning and appeared above the head of the lava titan. The immature fist is wrapped with a faint blue thunder and lightning, the strongest enhancer that shows aura. The air is seriously distorted, and it is a direct blow with all its strength. Call me a hammer. Don't you know it's disturbing the people? Boom! With the straight fist of the enhancer and the thunder of the conjurer, Kia's full-blown punch landed heavily on the forehead of the lava titan. An earth-shattering vibration spread throughout the entire rocky basin, and the entire rocky basin shook. A huge, deep pit appeared on the ground, and a series of cracks extended from the center, as if it would burst open in the next moment. The lava titan is lying in the center of the crack in the deep pit at this time, motionless, and the flames on his body are also extremely weak. The magma slowly flows in from the outside, covering the lava titan. Shwa, Kia's figure appeared on the edge of the deep pit, with his hands in his pockets, quietly looking at the lava titan in the deep pit. At this time, the lava titan is not only silent, but its body made of lava is densely covered with cracks, just like a fragile porcelain doll. Crook also flew down from midair, floating beside Kia. What a terrifying power! Kia, you really are a monster, right? You've been hiding your clumsiness before. How high is the upper limit of your strength for an attack of this level? Crook looked at the motionless lava titan in the pit, then looked at Kia and said with his eyelids twitching. She knew that Kia's potential strength was terrifying, but she didn't think much about it. She thought that the strength that Kia could display was at most similar to her own, except that she could cultivate more abilities and cover a wider range of subjects. However, I didn't expect Kia's attack to be so terrifying. His full blow just now only made the monster take a few steps back. This guy Kia actually smashed the lava titan with one blow and seemed to be seriously injured, making the lava titan unable to move until now. It is more than twice as powerful as the enhancer mind dragon that was used on that monster guardian god before. In other words, this kid Kia has been hiding his clumsiness. As soon as Crook's words fell, Inda stepped on the lava and came to the two of them. You've actually made it to this point. Kia, you're really amazing. As soon as he came here, Inchi was shocked by the tragic state of the lava titan. Don't look at it. Although the injury looks serious, the breath on this guy's body has not weakened much. Don't give it a chance to recover. Kia ignored the shock of the two and said lightly. Afterwards, the lightning all over his body bloomed again. The endless lightning was gathered in the palm of Kia's hand, and a 5-meter-sized plasma ball 3.6 was rapidly formed. When Crook saw this, he didn't speak, but silently waved the long whip in his hand, and the thick darkness condensed in the long whip. So did Inda. He knew that Jian's actions were correct. At this time, you should beat the dog in the water and annihilate it in one fell swoop, instead of giving the enemy a chance to recover. With thoughts surging all over his body, a huge rope net appeared in Inda's hands, and a special kind of thoughts was faintly visible in the rope net. The next moment, the three of them coincidentally, and with a tacit understanding, blasted out the attack in their hands. Boom! A violent explosion sounded, and the terrifying attack directly cracked and collapsed the earth. The three of Ki jumped up and withdrew to the back. Did it succeed? Crook stopped on a broken stone pillar, raised his toes, and frowned slightly. Chapter 88, Don't Ignore Me. I'm your enemy to know. No, the temperature around you has become higher. Be careful. Kia retorted immediately, because Kia discovered that the temperature in the place where they are now is rapidly heating up. The air distortion became more and more serious, and the field of vision was almost impossible to see clearly. Indeed, as expected of a creature from the Dark Continent, it didn't fall under the simultaneous attack of the three of us. Crook also noticed the temperature change in the surrounding environment and couldn't help wiping off his sweat, dissatisfied. Be careful, my hunting net has been destroyed. At this moment, Inda said suddenly. As soon as the words were blurted out, the three of them felt a violent vibration under their feet. A flame flashed from the crack in the rock under the feet of Inda and Crook. The pupils of the two shrank suddenly, and then they quickly left their original positions. The moment the two of them left in a flash, the feet of the three people in the two sky-reaching fire pillars shot up into the sky, instantly melting the broken rock pillars into magma. Seeing this scene, Inda and Crook, who escaped unharmed, felt palpitations in their hearts. If they hadn't discovered the flames under 19 feet in time, just now, they would definitely be seriously injured now. In an instant, the rock pillars that had been tempered by thousands of years were melted into magma. They couldn't resist this terrifying flame. If you are attacked, even if you don't die, you will definitely lose several layers of skin and be seriously injured. On the contrary, Kia didn't feel any palpitations at all in the eyes of Crook and others. The terrifying attack was just like that in the eyes of Kia. For Kia, with advanced fire resistance attribute, this is not a problem at all. At most, it will burn Kia's clothes and burn Kia's skin. It is impossible to cause powerful damage to Kia's body. Before the two of them settled down, a fiery red color appeared in the gunpowder smoke. Huge pieces of lava that were burning with flames shot out from the gunpowder smoke, densely packed, attacking in the direction of the two of them. Seeing this scene, Inda and Crook moved their eyes slightly. Inda stood up directly, and a giant net emitting blue light appeared in front of Inda. Inda held the tail of the giant net with one hand, and directly facing the attacking lava net, he passed. In an instant, the ferocious lava stopped under the obstruction of the giant net and was bound in the giant net. In the eyes of Kia and Crook, the giant blue net continuously emits cold air, covering the high-temperature lava, as if to freeze the lava. However, it is impossible to do it with these cold air alone. The temperature of the lava is really too high, and the giant ice net displayed by Inda can't shake the lava and lower the temperature of the lava. Not only that, these high-temperature lavas turned against the guests and began to burn the huge net that Inda realized. In just 1 second, the giant net in Inda's hand, the cold air disappeared under the high temperature, and this thing when melted the blue grid at an extremely fast speed. Seeing that the giant blue net was about to be melted to create a huge gap. When Crook saw this, the long whip in his hand quickly changed color, turning into a crystal clear ice blue. Then Crook waved his hand casually, and a cold current suddenly blew out from the ice blue long whip in his hand and invaded Inda's giant net in the blink of an eye. In an instant, Inda's huge net seemed to have been fully supplied with firepower and began to show its might. The melted giant net quickly recovered, and with the help of this cold current, the lava in the net was successfully frozen. Seeing this, Inda grinned, his hands were showing veins, and then he shook them vigorously. The huge frozen lava in the ice burst out like a rocket, launching towards the direction of attack. Boom, boom, boom. The violent explosion sounded again. Violent explosions sounded continuously, but Inda didn't feel the slightest excitement at all, replaced by golden-locked pupils. In those constricted pupils, the giant fist that has been burning with fierce flames is hitting his face at an inconceivable speed. Inda, who just used all his strength to throw away dozens of pieces of lava with a diameter of more than 20 meters, is now in a situation where his old power has been exhausted and his new power has not been regenerated. At the same time, because he has used too much power, he in a state of stiffness. There is no way to avoid it. Unable to use his strength, unable to dodge, Inda could only use his strength to use his strength, and then watched helplessly as the huge lava hand with blazing flames covered his body. Inda, Crook, who was behind Inda, saw this scene and immediately shouted worriedly. However, Luke's situation was not very good at this time, because below her floating, a flame is rapidly blooming. The pillar of fire that reaches the sky is about to erupt again. The lava titan has two purposes, and the timing is very accurate. At the moment when the two of them were in a state of stiffness, a terrifying attack was launched. Crook also noticed the flames under his feet and immediately saw what kind of attack it was, and his pupils shrank immediately. At this speed, there is no time to dodge at all, so they can only resist. Crook immediately saw his current situation clearly. The next moment, the sky-reaching fire column erupted suddenly, and the blue long whip in Crook's hand was also fiercely swung downward, and the cold current emerged again, colliding fiercely with the sky-reaching fire column. Like two protective shields, the red and white attacks collided together. Two different auras are formed. However, the two auras only stalemate for less than a second before 427 was broken. The pillar of fire piercing through the sky broke through the blowing of the cold current, directly covering Crook completely. At the same time, The giant lava fist of the lava titan also fell head-on. Boom! Inda was beaten so badly that he vomited blood, and Crook was hit head-on by a pillar of fire that reached the sky, and he did not know whether he was alive or dead. This is the logical follow-up to the script I've seen so far. However, since Kia is here, it is naturally impossible for this kind of thing to happen. Before the giant lava fist could hit Inda, he was blasted away with his huge body under a huge force. Kia's figure appeared in front of Inda's body, but the one who was supposed to hit Crook was not in the pillar of fire at this time, but was floating gently behind Kia and in front of Inda's body. This blow could seriously injure Crook and even burn the pillar of fire that completely burned Crook, but the lava titan was lonely. Hey, don't ignore me. I'm your enemy anyway. Standing on a magma, Kia looked at the lava titan that stopped in the distance and said helplessly. Kia found that the lava titan didn't seem to intend to attack him at all and kept chasing Inda and Crook. I had clearly caused him a serious injury just now. It stands to reason that this guy should be chasing me and beating me. Chapter 89, Runaway. Hey, you two. Are you okay? Kia turned slightly sideways, looked at the two of them, and asked with concern. It's okay. Thanks to your timely rescue. Crook shook his head with lingering fear and said happily, just now, the pillar of fire from the sky was about to bombard me, and I couldn't exert a strong explosive power in the air. I got out from that position, and I could only watch helplessly as my attack was destroyed. The flames fell on him. However, at the critical moment, Kia's lightning-flickering figure rescued Kia from there in a thousandth of a second. By the way, he also appeared in front of Inda and punched the lava titan. Inda also shook his head slightly, thanking Hinata. It's you, are you all right? Crook asked worriedly as he put his gaze on Kia's hand. At this time, the hand that Kia attacked just now was red all over, and it could be seen that it was burned. It can be seen that the temperature of the lava titan deep mountain is so high that even Kia, who has a strong resistance to fire attributes, was burned. It's okay. Hearing this, Kia glanced at her hand and said with a light smile. The red hand returned to its original shape in the blink of an eye, white and red. Afterwards, Kia looked at Inda, stretched out his hand, and a small bottle appeared in his hand. Kia threw it over. Sincerely benefiting 1 billion monks, it will be transferred to my account after this battle. Seeing Kia suddenly throwing a bottle towards him, Inda took it without thinking. Before Inda could ask what it was, Kia's voice came over, directly messing with Intian. What is so expensive? Such a small bottle costs 1 billion rings. Inda, good stuff, drink the contents. Crook recognized it at a glance and reminded Inda directly. Hearing Crook's reminder, Inda didn't hesitate and directly opened the bottle and drank a few drops of the Millennium Stone milk inside. The next moment, Inda's pupils constricted suddenly. His eyes revealed disbelief, and at the same time he looked towards Kia. Inda could feel the huge energy different from yin ki appearing in his body. This energy is slowly changing his physique. Inda, who exercises regularly, immediately understood the value of what he just drank. This is 1,000-year-old stone milk, a treasure to strengthen your physique, and at the same time, it can play a decisive role in your current situation. Kia explained aloud. 1,000-year stone milk can supplement the consumption of the human body, and this consumption also includes the water of the human body. Looking at the puzzled looks of the two, Kia added another sentence. Now, the two were overjoyed. The prepared water has been destroyed, and what they are most worried about now is to continue fighting. They will be dehydrated and go into shock due to the intense heat. They never thought that the 1,000-year-old stone milk given by Kia would actually have this effect. It is simply for them now. Treasures tailored for battle. Dal. At this moment, the lava titan in front of the three of them started roaring. Seeing this, the three of them didn't continue to communicate. They all assumed fighting postures and prepared to attack. However, the next scene left the three of them dumbfounded, because after the lava titan was blasted out by Kia, he didn't fight back angrily, but instead turned around and ran towards the ruins. What the hell? Before the three of them figured out the current situation, an earth-shattering movement came out of the ruins. The horrible relics are conveyed inside, which is deafening. Covered by the terrifying explosion, the three of Ki yet involuntarily covered their ears, their faces full of pain. After a few seconds, the terrifying explosion sound completely disappeared. Several people also lower their hands. The three who put down their hands did not communicate and rushed straight to the entrance of the ruins. Because, at this moment, Lava Titan has appeared at the entrance of the ruins. As soon as the three of Kia left, the Lava Titan had already entered the ruins. Their mission is to lure this monster away and get rid of it, so that this monster cannot join the patron saint in the ruins. Give Netero and the others a chance to kill that monster. It would be bad if the Lava Titan was allowed to return to that monster. The appearance of the Lava Titan will definitely disrupt the fighting rhythm of both sides. On the other side, in the ruins, the three Neteros are attacking the patron saint violently at this time. The patron saint, who was originally rooted in the earth, began to move at this time. Every time it moves, the ground will produce a huge vibration, and it will shatter like a magnitude 8 earthquake. A series of cracks were continuously formed under the movement of the guardian god. The huge roots, rooted hundreds of meters deep in the ground, will change the landscape every time it moves. The topography of the entire ruins has been completely changed, with countless cracks crisscrossing, looking down from the top. You can only see the endless abyss, which is frightening. And on the Patronus, Netero, Kim, and Potter White were fighting fiercely. The 100-style Avalokitesvara behind Netero bombarded the body of the guardian god continuously with its 100-style Buddha palms. Debris flew across the body, and the body of the guardian god was destroyed with a gap several hundred meters wide. And behind Netero, Potter Bai's body, which is huge compared to ordinary people, but extremely slender compared to the Avalokitesvara, is firmly covering Netero's Avalokitesvara. The patron saint's attack was completely stopped by him. Whether it was the twinkling giant dragon with glimmering light or the huge and ferocious branches, they were all completely stopped under Potter's white hands. The place where the two are located is completely a vacuum circle. As for the rest of Jean, at this time, Jean is no longer by their side. As for where he went, no one knew, and only Netero, Potter Bai, and the patron saint who were present knew. Hateful ants. Being an obedient old man is not nourishing enough, and being an old man's nourishment is the highest honor. The old voice was full of anger, and it continued to come from all directions. Netero and Potter Bai remained unmoved, and each performed their duties. Chapter 90. Jin's strange ability. As for Jin, this guy is also in this place at this time, but can also be said to be in a different place. Because this guy, Jin, did not know what ability he used, but actually entered the body of the guardian god. In the body of the guardian god, in the darkness, Jin was walking in the darkness like walking on the ground. There's a faint light on his body. This guy's body is really big, and it's really difficult to find his weakness. If you can't find the core of this guy within half an hour, then things will be troublesome. Walking in the dark, Jin closed his eyes, using this circle to perceive everything around him, and said lightly, "The body of the guardian god is really too big, half the size of a small city, and it is also very tough. If you want to completely destroy it, it is impossible to do it within an hour with the strength of the three of them. It will take several hours at least, and their thoughts will continue to flow and will not be exhausted. However, if this situation is really followed, then let alone destroying the patron saint, the risk of falling here is even greater." Therefore, the three of them had a division of labor on the way here. Netero and Potter Bai attacked the patron saint outside and attracted the attention of the patron saint, while Jin took the opportunity to use his ability to enter the body of the patron saint and destroy the core of the patron saint. 267 powerful monsters. Each monster has a powerful core in its body, which is a bit similar to the magic core of the monsters in the Western fantasy novels that Kia read in his previous life. And to destroy this kind of monster, then the core in its body must be destroyed. When Kia was in the wetland of Wetmeal, the last self-destruction of Sa, M.O., Ku, was to self-detonate the core of his body and the mind energy in his body. With the destruction of the core, Sa-Mo-Ku also completely disappeared in this world, considered extinct. Jin's ability is not his own ability, but an ability stolen from the enemy. It's not considered stealing. Jin's talent allows him to easily learn and imitate after being hit by the ability of the strike department. The ability of imitation can reach the power of the original ability of more than 8 layers. Although the ability that Jin is using now is a bit peculiar, it is also a strike ability. It was obtained by Jin from destroying a very strange monster in a ruin. It was a feather saucer, petite in stature, but extremely terrifying in ability. The person who is hit by the feather disc will be invaded by it and destroyed from the inside of the body. Moreover, after entering the enemy's body, it will not be restrained, but it seems to be in another dimension. At that time, Jin was very embarrassed by this ability. After discovering it, Jin decisively used Nian Qi, using powerful Nian Qi to force out the feather disc that had invaded his body and squeeze it into pieces. I don't know what's going on outside. I hope the old man and Chun can hold on. Don't die until I find the core. The speed of a more than 600 meters circle exuding gold, regardless of consumption, continued to increase and faintly turned into a ghostly afterimage. In the darkness, a voice emitting white light turned into an afterimage flashing rapidly, starting from the bottom and walking continuously, as if walking through a maze. From the bottom position, it is constantly moving upwards. The body of the patron saint is like a building, and Jin is constantly exploring the various floors in this building. Finally, after going through almost 100 floors, Jin finally sensed the core of the patron saint. Seeing this green light appearing in the darkness, Jin was so excited that the corners of his mouth curled up. Finally found it, Jin Dan said with a smile. Damn guy, actually entered the old man's body, trying to do something to the old man's origin, dreaming. The moment Jin appeared in front of the core of the guardian god finally discovered the monsters scurrying around in his body. Jin, suddenly furious, and an angry voice sounded in this place. Afterwards, the floating green light quickly flashed forward. At the same time, the Patronus outside also started to riot, and the furious Patronus directly blasted Netero and Potter by who were attacking. The mountains next to the guardian god began to shake violently, and then 5 huge roots broke through the ground, and the 5 mountains collapsed at this moment, with a huge sound that shook the sky and spread far away, far away. Want to run, dream? In the body of the guardian god, the core of the guardian god, flashing green light quickly shot towards the darkness. If I let you escape, then the meaning of my coming here will be gone. Jin's body flashed quickly, and he quickly chased after him. The core of the guardian god is not slippery, and it is extremely difficult to capture, but Jin is not weak and follows like a shadow. However, even so, it was only after 5 or 6 minutes of chasing after Jin that he completely caught it and held it tightly. The next moment, a terrifying thought energy rose up, and terrifying strength emerged in Jin's hands. Jin squeezed it hard without any hesitation. Crackling, there was a sound like a rope breaking, and the core that was originally shining with green light was pinched and swelled up. Even if you crush the old man's origin, it's useless. Just wait. The old man will absolutely smash you into pieces. However, facing this desperate situation, the guardian god did not have the slightest fear, but roaring angrily, he threatened Jin. Faced with this powerless threat, Jin smiled disdainfully, and the strength in his hand increased sharply again. There was a cracking sound, and the core of the guardian god was directly crushed by Jin, shattered and scattered. The light quickly dissipated, and the surroundings suddenly darkened. This is the end. Jin clapped his hands and said, I have to get out of here quickly, otherwise it will be very bad. As soon as the words fell, Jin, who was walking on the ground, began to shake. Oops. The core is destroyed. This guy's body is starting to collapse. If you don't go out, I will collapse together. Although the ability that Jin obtained is terrifying, it also has conditions and restrictions. Because of this, Jin's ability was only used once. And this limitation is that the size of the user and the victim needs to be more than 100 times different. Otherwise, the conditions cannot be fulfilled and the ability cannot be activated. In addition, after successfully killing the enemy, you must rush out of the enemy's body within 2 minutes. Otherwise, it will assimilate with the enemy's body and collapse together. Therefore, Jin's most urgent delay now is to quickly leave the body of the guardian god. Otherwise, he will fall with the body of the guardian god. However, it has not waited for Jin to make a move. In front of Jin's eyes, in the darkness, a flame appeared in Jin's field of vision and continued to enlarge. When Jin saw this scene, his pupils shrank immediately. What is this? Chapter 91 Fusion. Damn it, this guy's speed is too fast. Inda, how did you lure him here before without being caught up? He quickly chased after the lava titan. Even Kia, who was in a state of super speed, couldn't catch up. Kia couldn't help but curse secretly, and then asked Inda, who was behind him. As soon as the lava titan entered the ruins, it directly merged into the magma, flowing rapidly in the magma, and its speed was even faster than Kia's divine speed. Kia couldn't catch up with it with all his strength, and could only hang behind it. With such a speed, Kia really wondered how this guy Inda attracted it to come over, but was not caught up. I don't know, this guy didn't have this kind of speed before. Inda, who fell behind, was also very depressed at this time. Tisich, I got it. You two don't follow. You're almost approaching the spiritual nun domain of that monster. I'll just go there. Kia cut annoyed and then shouted loudly. After shouting, Kia turned her head and didn't speak again. With the fastest speed in the state of super speed, she bit the lava titan tightly, not letting it escape from her vision. The two were left behind by Kia were stunned when they heard this, and then stopped. Kia is right. They don't have the props to eliminate thoughts, and it was troublesome in the past, so it's better to go back and wait. Shortly after watching Kia leave, Crook and Inda looked at each other, then turned and walked back to the rocky basin. It's really careless. This guy can run away. Crook whispered with an ugly face. On the other side, after being blown away, Netero and Potter quickly stabilized their pace and fell into the magma. It looks like that guy Jin has been discovered. Netero looked at the berserk patron saint and said solemnly, "It looks like, but it's really scary." The old man's body almost fell apart from the blow just now. Potter looked solemnly at the huge tree branch constantly dancing not far away and said seriously, "President, are you all right?" Immediately, Potter looked at Netero beside him and asked with concern. One of the 5 huge roots rushing out of the ground just now swung over, directly sending him and Netero hundreds of meters away. The kind of powerful power almost broke his defense. But even so, the huge force still caused him a lot of injuries. If his body strength was not strong enough, he might have been seriously injured or even died by this blow just now. And Netero wasn't much better. If it weren't for the guardianship of Baishir Guanin, Netero, who was old and frail and had a serious decline in physical fitness, might have died here directly. Half of his nun Baishir, Avalokitesvara, was directly smashed to pieces just now. "Oh man, I'm fine." Netero stroked his beard and shook his head slightly, indicating that he was fine. With Avalokitesvara in 100 forms, his surroundings are a safe zone. Although the patron saint's attack is powerful, the blow just now can be compared with his heyday. However, the power is strong enough, but the attack speed of the patron saint is not enough. Netero easily defended against its attack. The price is that the 100 styles of Avalokitesvara that it manifested has been sucked out, but people are fine. Let's step back. Jin should be almost successful. Otherwise, this monster wouldn't be so furious. In this case, there is no need for us to continue to attract his attention here. Let's retreat to a distance and wait for Jin to come out. Immediately, Netero made a decision to evacuate here temporarily. What he and Potter did just now was just to attract Jin's attention. Now that Jin has been discovered, there is no need for them to continue to attract attention. Wait for the gold to come out, and then you will know whether you have succeeded or failed. Potter nodded lightly, expressing his understanding. The two quickly retreated behind. The guardian kept waving huge branches, ignoring the retreating Netero and Potter. But when the two retreated, they felt something, and they were startled suddenly. In the next moment, a stream of ooze flashed past them, and then they saw a huge piece of lava rising into the sky, rushing towards the patron saint. As for flowers before the two could react, Kia's voice came from behind. "Old man Netero, stop that guy quickly." However, this sentence was shouted too late. At the moment when Kia's voice came over, the lava from the city had already hit the guardian angel's body. Surprisingly, the patron saint hit by the lava showed no signs of burning at all. Instead, the lava blended into the body of the patron saint very peacefully, without any accidents. And Kia's figure also appeared beside Netero and Potter by at this moment. "Kia, what's going on? Or was that just now?" Netero put his hand on Kia's shoulder and asked solemnly. He could sense that something was wrong. The monster that Inda brought over within a few hits, that guy rushed back. Even I couldn't catch up with that speed. Looking at the lava titan that had completely melted into the body of the guardian, Kia took a deep breath and then said seriously, "The three of you can't stop him." Potter exclaimed in surprise. "This guy is too cunning. We thought he was going to attack, but we didn't expect that he was going to run away, and he slipped away for a while. Moreover, this guy is too fast, and I can't stop him," Kia said with an ugly face. He had promised Netero before that he would stop the lava titan together with Crook and the two of them. But now it is disbelief. His mission the first time failed. But as soon as Kia's voice fell, the guardian god suddenly burst into fiery flames, sweeping towards the surroundings. Then, a figure burst out from the flames and slammed towards them fiercely. The speed was fast, ferocious, and sonic booms all appeared, and then Jin's voice came from this voice. "Hey, you guys get out of the way, I can't stop." Seeing this, the three of them hurriedly jumped away and left the place one after another. Boom! Enter Chapter 92, Netero's Recommission and the Special Effect of Millennium Stone Milk Boom. With a loud noise, Jin's whole body directly smashed into the magma, and a large amount of magma shot out to the surroundings. The three of Kiya quickly used none to block the magma. Then he looked at the place where Jin landed. In the magma, Jin stood up from the magma and patted his but like a normal person. This guy is really cunning. This guy, the memory of that time was deliberately shown to us. Looking at the burning patron saint, the corners of Jin's eyes twitched a little and said very painfully, "Jin, what happened?" The three of Kiya approached, and Netero frowned and asked, "We were all deceived by this guy. This guy and the monster in the volcano are not in a symbiotic relationship at all, but they are one with two cores. The monster in the volcano is the other core of this guy, but this guy has consciousness, but the core in the 723 volcano has no, only instinct. They are twins. This guy dominates. Just now, I destroyed his core in this guy's body, and this guy immediately summoned another core back. Then I was kicked out by this guy." Jin spread his hands and said helplessly, "It was already successful, but the old guy even hit it. It's actually like this." Knowing the cause and effect of the matter, Netero and Potter were also shocked. "What should we do now?" Kiya wasn't too shocked. He wasn't surprised what would happen to the monsters coming from the Dark Continent. "What else can I do? Fight since the plan to sabotage from the inside has been ruined? Then I can only be tough, and I can't let it go." Jin Wenyin raised his eyebrows, said with a smile. As soon as the words fell, Jin's body changed into an afterimage, rushing towards the guardian god. "It's the only way to do it now," Netero said with a sigh. "The old man is one step ahead." Potter nodded, and then also jumped up, rushing towards the sky. "In that case, let me help you too." Seeing this, Kiya was also ready to make a move. Although his strength cannot be compared with these few people, he can still help some people. Moreover, this time it was originally his task, and it was his responsibility to let the lava titan run back. He should take action for all reasons. However, he was stopped by Netero just as he was about to make a shot. "Wait, Kiya, don't make a move. The old man wants to entrust you with another matter," Netero said solemnly. Kiya was taken aback for a moment and had a slight guess in his heart. Sure enough, Netero's next words confirmed Kiya's guess. "Kiya, the next battle will definitely be a tug of war. If the mind-killing props on us disappear, then the result of our battle will definitely end with our defeat. The old man hopes that you can create a battle that eliminates Nyenyu as soon as possible, so that we can rest assured. Netero said solemnly. Hearing this, Kia frowned slightly, but didn't immediately agree. It takes at least half an hour to make a Chunyin jade, but now, Netero and the others have already used the Chunyin small box for almost half an hour. That is to say, only half an hour is left for the effect of the small box of eliminating thoughts. Netero has 2 lockets, nothing to worry about, but Jean and the others only have 1. Once the mind-killing effect disappears, Jean and the others will definitely fall into a passive state. To resist the spirit nun of this monster, their strength will be weakened by at least half. I should have done a few more before I knew it. Thinking of this, Kia sighed slightly and said, I didn't expect things to turn out like this. It's my mistake. Netero's complexion was also not very good. He thought that an hour would be enough for the 3 of them to attack together. Unexpectedly, things turned out to be complicated, and they were going to have a tug-of-war with this monster next. I can ask you about this matter, Kia. Afterwards, Netero's expression became serious again, and he asked Kia again. I know, I will try my best, but I can't make 2 in half an hour. Once the effect of banishing disappears, it will only depend on your willpower, Kia agreed, with the same expression, quite dignified. Thanks, the old man owes you another favor. Netero's face relaxed slightly, and then he said with a smile. After finishing speaking, Netero rushed towards the battlefield of Jean and others, and soon joined the battlefield between Jean and the guardian god. Looking at the battle above, feeling the terrifying battle fluctuations pouring down from above, Kia sighed slightly, turned around, and flashed into the distance. This is the center of the battlefield, not a good place. Here, it is easy to be affected, and it is difficult to watch the battle quietly, let alone create Nyenyu. Soon Kia came to a relatively calm place compared to the center of the battlefield. Kia found a bright red rock and sat on it, without any hesitation, and directly started making the Nyenyu. The moment Kia started using Chunun to make Chun Nyenyu, the 1,000-year stone milk that Kia swallowed before played a role. Millennium Stone milk is a treasure to enhance physical fitness, and it is also a powerful consumable. The reason why Millennium Stone milk can strengthen the body is that it can quickly replenish the substances consumed in the body, making people get twice the result with half the effort when exercising. Before the effect of the 1,000-year stone milk is exhausted, any substance in the user's body is reduced, and the huge energy of the 1,000-year stone milk can be transformed immediately to replenish it. This point, Kia has explained to Inda before. Kirk's quick recovery from severe water consumption was also due to the Millennium Stone milk. Moreover, the 1,000-year stone milk can not only supplement these, but also supplement the consumption of mind energy. As Kia started to make Nyen Ki, the Nyen Ki in Kia's body began to decrease rapidly, and the huge energy of the 1,000-year stone milk quickly turned it into Nyen Ki, and the Nyen Ki consumed by Kia was replenished, 1 decrease, and 1 increase for a while. The thought energy in Kia's body didn't seem to be consumed. Kia didn't even think of this point. Regarding the Millennium Stone milk, Kia knows that Kia can replenish the substances consumed in the body, but Kia doesn't know at 2.4 that Nyen Ki can also be restored. When fighting before, Kia didn't have time to pay attention to the recovery of Nyen Ki. Before fighting the Lava Titan, Kia only played 2 or 3 times and didn't use too much Nyen Ki. In addition, Kia's physique itself is very good. It is powerful, and the speed at which the body recovers mind energy is quite impressive. So Kia doesn't know that the 1,000-year stone milk has this effect at all. Now, when Kia made Nyenyu, the large consumption of Nyen Ki showed the effect of the Millennium Stone milk. It actually has this kind of effect. It's really a rare treasure. It's just like a power bank for a mobile phone. It's used for general use while charging. Kia opened his eyes, with surprise flashing in them, and murmured road. Afterwards, he closed his eyes again and began to make all-out mind-eliminating props again. This time, Kia's manufacturing speed was much faster than the previous manufacturing speed in the hotel. Chapter 93. Removing Nun and Strengthening Boom. The earth-shattering sound continued to come from the ruins. Even in the rocky basin, both Crook and Inda could hear it. This huge sound was like thunder ringing in their ears, making their hearts involuntary. Lifted it up. What happened inside? There's been such a big movement since just now, and there is still an impact from such a long distance. What level of battle can cause this scale? Blocking the front of the body, Crook looked inexplicably worried as the strong wind blowing over him struck. I don't know, but the situation must be bad. In this case, the two of us are powerless. Inda's naive expression was a little downcast at this time, like a wilted cucumber. Hey, what happened in the ruins of Crook? At this moment, Minchi's voice came from behind the two, and then Minchi appeared beside Crook. The huge movement from the ruins is not only transmitted here, even the city of Salia is within this huge plus movement range. The huge 19 explosions even reached out to the city of Salia, which was more than 100 miles away. The interior of Salia City is now in chaos, and the residents of the city are panicking. After Minchi heard the huge movement, he immediately thought of Kia and went to Kia's room to find him. But they couldn't find it. I went to the front desk to ask and found out that Kia left the hotel with Crook. While muttering in his heart how Kia got involved with Crook, Minchi also rushed over here directly. Crook and Kia act together. The most likely is to come here. Because Crook is one of the 12 earthly branches, Netero arranged to manage it. However, after coming here, Minchi found that there were only Crook and Inda here, and there was no sign of Kia, so he suddenly became worried. Kia and the president are in the ruins. Crook looked at Minchi and then replied. Hearing this, Minchi was taken aback for a moment, and then suddenly raised his heart. Being so close, Minchi clearly faced the terrifying impact from the ruins. Minchi could imagine that the battle inside was extremely fierce, and even a battle between two small countries could not cause such a movement. Kia is inside. Will she be hurt? Instinctively, Minchi wanted to rush into the ruins to find Kia, but he was stopped by Crook, who had quick eyes and quick hands. Don't go in and make trouble. Didn't you see that we didn't go in? Crook reprimanded mercilessly. Being reprimanded by Crook, Minchi also became sober and calmed down. Minchi knows that with his own strength, he is not qualified to be involved at all, and going will only cause trouble for Kia, trouble for the president and the others. It is a burden. At this moment, a strong desire for strength emerged in Minchi's heart. If your strength is strong enough, you can go in by yourself. Strength? Minchi was taken aback suddenly. Yes, strength. My strength is very weak, but the two around me are 12 earthly branches, so it goes without saying. Why are the two of them here, but didn't go in? Crook also saw the doubt in Minchi's eyes, shook his head slightly, and explained aloud. We can't get in there. It will cause trouble. As soon as these words came out, an ominous premonition rose in Minchi's heart. The 12 earthly branches are actually a burden. Is the battle inside so terrifying? Minchi suddenly looked at the ruins. His pupils narrowed tightly, and his face was extremely worried. www. No, this speed is still too slow. It seems that I need to strengthen the elimination of none. After condensing the elimination of none for a few minutes, Kia opened his eyes, frowned, and said to himself. Kia directly immersed her mind in her mind and called out the attribute panel. Name, Kia's Zoldyck ability, None. Conjurer None Speed Thunder, 1000. Traits None Space Operation, 1000. Manipulator None Angel Ring Archangel's Breath, 5000. Enhancement None, 1000. Emitter None Desire, 1000. Note. The number of reinforcement points required for the next reinforcement is in brackets. Deputy Ability, Cuisine, Advanced Cuisine, 500. Archaeology, Archaeology Expert, 5000. Note. In brackets are the enhancement points required for the next enhancement. Strengthening points, 6332 item. Aluminum alloy yo-yo, 1 piece. System, use 6000 points to strengthen my ability to divide and combine. Kia said to the system in his mind. In order to solve this problem, Kia directly carried out 2 reinforcements. Ding, use 1000 strengthening points to strengthen Emitter None. Congratulations to the host for getting immunity to Emitter None. Ding, Use 5,000 reinforcement points to enhance emitter non-immunity. Congratulations to the host for obtaining emitter and eliminate the field of thought. As soon as the system's voice fell, Kia's body trembled suddenly, and a huge thought energy surged out of his body again. This time, the Nian Qi in Kia's body didn't increase much. There was only about one layer, that is, about 107,000 potential Qi Emperors, and Kia's current potential Qi Emperors had reached 380,000. At the same time, the upper limit of Kia's display capacity has also increased by several thousand. The attack power of Kia's mind energy that can be sent out in an instant has skyrocketed again. However, these are not Kia's focus now. At this moment, Kia is accepting the information about the field of eliminating thoughts in his mind. After receiving all the information, Kia's eyes opened quickly, and the sun disappeared in a flash. This ability is not bad. Non-immunity is a passive skill. Kia's body is now immune to most of the negative effects of none. As for the upper limit, Kia doesn't know. As for the field of eliminating thoughts, this is the ability that Kia needs now. The strengthened Ki, you can use it to directly release a none field. It is the same as the spiritual none domain of the Guardian God. It's just that the spiritual none domain of the Guardian God can make people lose consciousness, while Kia's mind-eliminating domain can make people who enter this domain immune to any none influence. And the maximum range of this field is 500 meters. The corners of Kia's mouth curled up slightly, and he instantly entered the state of super speed, and his whole body disappeared from the original place in an instant, leaving only an electric arc flickering in the air for a moment, and then went out. Chapter 94. This guy is really a monster. Hey, old man, the situation is not good if you continue like this. While dealing with the sharp leaves wrapped in raging fire, while avoiding the attack of the huge tree roots stretching up from the ground, Jean frowned tightly, shouted to Netero, who was in the same situation not far away. The body of the patron saint is too huge, so the defense is not very high. Of course, even if the defense is not high, their attacks must be very powerful to destroy their bodies. Also, because the body of the patron saint is too huge, although their attacks can destroy the body of the patron saint in a large area, but to the patron saint it is just a drizzle, not worth mentioning at all. If they continue, they will not be able to completely destroy the Guardian God, even if their energy is exhausted. Moreover, with the passage of time, the effect of the small box of eliminating thoughts on them is about to disappear. Once they disappear, the situation they face will be even worse. This kind of scene is too unfavorable for them. The old man also knows, but this monster must be destroyed. In a few minutes, if Kia fails to send Chunyin-Yu over, we will retreat immediately. Netero shook his head and said the prayers of his hands did not stop at all. In a second, the golden Buddha's palm hit the burning patron saint. It directly destroyed the huge tree body through a gap of more than 10 meters. However, compared to the huge body of the Guardian God, such a small gap is like a human being stared at by a mosquito, and the indicator has an itchy effect. Without the props to eliminate thoughts, their situation here will definitely be very dangerous, and they must evacuate immediately. Otherwise, there is a 70% chance that they will be left here completely. Not to mention other things, just talk about himself. Once he is distracted to suppress the spirit none of this monster, then his spirit will become scattered again, and the prayer gestures of Bai Shirwanin will also appear flawed. The power of attacks launched with flawed prayer gestures will definitely be greatly reduced. I've been playing wild on this old man for so long, and I still want to get out of my body dream and die here for this old man and become my nourishment. The old and angry voice sounded in the ears of Netero and the others, making them they all have serious faces. There's also that kid. The old man will not let him go. After the old man wipes out all of you and turns them into flesh and blood supplies, the old man will leave here and hunt down that kid. Even if it is Chinya Cape, the old man will not let him go past him. The patron saint has already seen that the reason why Jean and others are immune to their own abilities is because of Ki Ya's relationship. The green fluorescent lights that linger on Jean and the others come from the same source as the ones on Ki Ya. If it weren't for Ki Ya's ability, He would have taken down Netero and the others long ago and absorbed them as his own nutrients. Combining new and old hatreds, the guardian god hates Kia more strongly than Netero and the others. Tianya Haijiao, you hammer, eat the young master. I will hit the top with 5 thunders. As soon as the voice of the guardian god fell, a thick thunderbolt suddenly blasted on the huge tree, directly blasting a gap tens of meters wide. On the gap, thunder and lightning kept flickering, and then a figure flickering with lightning fell in front of Jean. Yo, I'm back. Kia waved to the two with a faint smile. Seeing Kia appear, Jean and Netero breathed a sigh of relief. If Kia appeared here, it meant that Kia had already created the mind-eliminating props, and they didn't have to retreat directly. At least they could continue to fight. But at the moment when the two breathed a sigh of relief, the patron saint, who didn't react too much to the violent attack of Netero's 3, screamed in pain when he was hit by Kia's thunder. The huge tree body kept shaking, as if it was struggling in pain, and the attacks of Jiang Xiangjin and others also stopped. The earth is trembling constantly, and a magnitude 8 earthquake is rapidly forming. What's going on? This guy seems to be screaming. Netero and others also noticed this keenly and opened their mouths in surprise. They have been attacking for so long, but this monster has never screamed in such pain. No, it should be said that there is no pain at all, no screaming. Why did it become like this when Kia's attack landed on it? Is this guy afraid of lightning? Potterby also took the opportunity to come to the 3 of them from a distance and asked in confusion. It seems like this. Jean replied thoughtfully. Kia, you can use your Thunderbolt none to attack again. Netero said to Kia. Although Kia didn't understand what they said, she didn't refuse. Lightning flickered in his hand, and with a direct wave, a thunderbolt struck down again and landed on the body of the guardian god. Immediately, the screams of the patron saint became more intense. It's effective. Jean and the others were stunned for a moment, and they said happily inwardly, Kia, use your ability to hit me, Jean said excitedly to Kia. Hearing this, Kia immediately raised her brows with a strange expression. Does anyone else like being beaten? Since you like to be beaten, then I won't be here. Thinking of this, he punched Jin's chin directly in the state of super speed. Jean flew out of the whole person and smashed heavily not far away. There were electric arcs flickering on Jin's chin that hit the ground. The money is good, which made Jin's chin numb. But Jean didn't care at all, but muttered to himself. So that's it. While muttering to himself, Jean got up from the ground, and the next moment, a strong cold air emerged from Jin's body. In the eyes of the 3 of Kia, this powerful thought energy quickly changed. Within 2 seconds, an electric arc bloomed on Jin's body. Then with a muffled sound, the electric arc on Jin's body exploded, and the next moment, Jean also followed Kia's glance, entering a state of super speed, and his whole body was entangled in lightning. Seeing this scene, Kia's pupil shrank and suddenly remembered the terrifying talent of the guy in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched. This guy, what a monster! Chapter 95, Unexpected Joy. Internal and external echoes at this time. In the body of the guardian god, the fiery core of the lava titan was passing by a trace of electric current. In the outside world, Kia attacked twice in a row, and the fiery core formed by the lava titan would flash with lightning, as if echoing with the outside world, destroying the core. And this trace of lightning is what Kia left when he attacked the lava titan with all his enhancer and conjurer before. Kia himself didn't know that the attack at that time would cause this kind of damage to the lava titan. The only remaining core was destroyed again. The guardian god could no longer calm down. The severe pain caused by the core being destroyed made it unbearable, and it struggled painfully, constantly waving huge branches and roots, wanting to this vent pain. He didn't have the energy to pay attention to Jean and them at all. While outside, this is Kia's ability. Netero and Potterby froze as they saw Jean wrapped around lightning. Ah, this is my talent, the none of the strike system. As long as I'm attacked, I can imitate it for about 8 layers. Jin's face in the state of super speed is also very indifferent. Raised his head slightly. Jean said indifferently, However, it is really a good ability. This ability has a very difficult pre-training. Even if I don't have this precondition, it is impossible to maintain this state for a long time under the conditions of 667. Kia, you have developed a good ability. Speaking of this, a slight smile appeared on Jin's indifferent face. Kia's speed is based on Kia's strong resistance to lightning, which was developed by exercising the body with high voltage current since childhood. Jin does not have such a strong resistance, although, because of his talent, he can imitate this ability and transform Ki into lightning. However, Jin's body can't bear the devastation brought by this ability for a long time. That's right, devastation, without lightning resistance. Using lightning none, although powerful, will also cause immeasurable damage to one's body at the same time. Jin is like this now, but Jin has a strong physique and is fine for the time being, able to withstand the destructiveness of lightning. But it will fail after a long time. Even if Jin's physique is very strong, it is impossible to develop without injury. You monster! Kia narrowed his eyes and said, slightly unhappy. I had to endure several years of high-voltage current development before I was able to develop super speed. This guy, Jin, imitated it all at once, which made Kia very unhappy. Hey, thanks for the compliment, Jin said triumphantly with a hook, BJFC, at the corner of his mouth. Unknowingly, Jin has overcome the indifference brought about by the state of super speed. Then, without further ado, while I'm still in this state, Kia, the two of us will be the main force to destroy this monster. Old man, Chun, please protect us. The two of us will do our best to destroy this monster, Jin said solemnly to Netero and Bo Potter. Okay, leave it to the old man. I will do my best to cover you two. You two just attack, and we will deal with this monster's attack. Well, leave it to the old man. Potter nodded solemnly. Okay, Kia. Jin nodded, then looked at Kia, asking Kia for advice. Ah, yes. Kia nodded slightly and agreed without hesitation. This time, it was originally caused by the failure of his mission, so Kia had no objection to Jin and the others asking him to take action. Rather, even if Jin and the others don't say anything, Kia will make a move. This is the first mission failure since Kia's killer career. Kia will make compensation according to the situation. In the current situation, joining forces with Jin and the others to eliminate this monster together is the last choice. With a wave of his hand, Kia took out some Millennium Stone milk from the system space again, and Kia sent several bottles to several people. Good stuff. Drink these things, Kia said lightly. Jin, Netero, and Potter have been here for an hour, and they have been engaged in a high-intensity battle with the monster in front of them, and the mind energy in their bodies has been exhausted. Continuing to fight, it is estimated that within a few tens of minutes, their thoughts will become exhausted. At that time, it will be even more difficult, even impossible, to kill this monster. In order to kill this monster and make up for the result caused by the failure of his mission, Kia spent a lot of money. There is no way to continue to obtain this 1,000-year stone milk. The three of them didn't suspect him. They just took the bottle floating in midair, opened it, and poured it directly. The next moment, all three of them stared wide-eyed. It really is a good thing, Jin said in surprise. Kia, do you still have this thing? Can you trade it? How much do you have? How much does the old man want? Netero said solemnly. The same goes for me. The president will give me twice as much. Potter also stood up and assured Kia. Get out now. Kia gave the two of them a hard look and threw out a few words. Good guy, they are all coveting my treasures, and there is no door. Ah, you guys are so interesting. Seeing the behavior of the two old men, Jin burst out laughing. Afterwards, he turned into a flash of lightning and began to strike. Seeing this, Kia also flashed his figure and started to attack in coordination with Jin. Boom! The sky thundered. The terrifying thunderbolts continuously exploded on the body of the guardian god, and huge gaps appeared continuously on the body of the guardian god, and the thunderbolts were quickly destroyed, wreaking havoc. But the patron saint, who had no tendency to attack just now, was constantly waving tree roots and branches, manipulating burning leaves to attack Kia and Jin, trying to destroy them. Because at this time, the ray of lightning in the core of the guardian god responded to Jin and Kia's attack again and began to destroy it. For this point, the patron saint can't do anything to that trace of lightning. He can't extract this trace of lightning, at least not in a short period of time. And if this continues, the only remaining core of oneself will be destroyed sooner or later. The only way to keep his core from being destroyed was to kill Kia and Jean outside, so that he would no longer be attacked by thunder. However, he couldn't do it all. The huge body would have been an easy target, coupled with the fact that Netero and Potter were desperately protecting Jean and Kia. The patron saint's attack could not enter within 20 meters of Jean and Kia at all, and was blocked by Netero and Potter. Damn, hateful BD, let me die, especially you, boy. Even if I die, I will kill you completely. The attack could not fall on Jean and Kia. Guardian God Fury with a moderate fever. She has completely lost her composure and keeps roaring and roaring like a street shrew. Chapter 96, Begging for Mercy and Oath Restriction. Do you think you can kill the old man with your attacks? Wishful thinking. Even if the old man stands still, you can't kill the old man. The weakness of you humans is that your thoughts are not strong, and you will soon become weak. Even if I can't touch you too, I can wait for you to become weak. As long as I endure the pain, none of you will be able to run away. The continuous destruction of the core made the guardian god extremely painful. Attacking Kia and Jean, the constant loud threat clamored. But the attacks were blocked by Netero and Potter with all their might. But Kia and Jean didn't take this guy's threats to heart at all. Instead, they attacked each time stronger and more terrifying, constantly destroying its body. But at this time, Kia, who was attacking with Jean, had a strange expression on his face. It's a strange feeling. There seems to be something in this guy's body, which is related to me, Kia thought with a strange expression. Something about me is in this guy's body. It seems that I haven't fought against this guy before, right? While the constant attacks drove Thunder to carry out the bombing, Kia also began to meditate. The only possibility is that Lava Titan. Jean said that Lava Titan is another core of this monster, and I can feel that there is something related to me in it. So there's only that Lava Titan. No, I have to feel this weak connection. Thinking of this, Kia stopped attacking and took a few steps back. Kia, what's the matter? Jean noticed that Kia had stopped and suddenly asked strangely. When he spoke, the attack in his hand was still incessant. This fellow Jin's power in the super speed state is comparable to Kia's. Although this guy didn't strengthen the transforming Ki several times like Kia, his power is still very terrifying. Because the Yin Ki in this guy's body is too huge, and his display capacity is higher than that of Kia, and the attack he can unleash is very strong. Quantitative change leads to qualitative change. Moreover, thunder and lightning will destroy the defects of the body because the relationship between the Millennium Stone milk has disappeared. This is also the reason why his speed can be compared with that of. Leave me alone. Keep going. I seem to have captured important information that could destroy this guy. Give me some time to perceive it. Kia shook his head, replied, then closed his eyes and began to follow the information that appeared in his mind. The slightest connection felt. I see. Jean Wenyin frowned slightly, then nodded. In this situation, he knew that Kia would not act willfully. Since Kia said so, the possibility is absolutely high. The power of Jin's attack is still gradually rising, and it has begun to surpass the power of Kia's thunder. I don't know how huge this guy's potential capacity is and how high the upper limit of his manifest capacity is. However, it is estimated that there are more than double Kia. The clamor of patron saint is still going on. Time passed slowly, and half an hour passed in a blink of an eye. It seemed that it could not threaten Jean and Netero at all, and the roar of the patron saint had gradually weakened. He knew that his threat would not work at all, so he began to beg for mercy. Damn guy, BD, stop this old man. This old man will definitely tear your corpses into 10,000 pieces and devour you to death. Don't continue to fight. The old man promises you. As long as you stop, the old man will go back to the Dark Continent immediately and never set foot here again. Your mental energy is about to run out. If you continue, it's not certain who will win the battle. The guardian god has been begging for mercy from the very beginning of the caller threat. However, Jean and Netero ignored them at all and were still defending and attacking. Regarding this guy's words, Netero and Jean were a little moved, because according to the current situation, it would take several hours for them to completely wipe out the patron saint. Although judging from the situation of this guy begging for mercy, this guy's situation is very bad. However, the thoughts in their bodies have also been consumed a lot. The huge energy of the Millennium Stone milk in the body is about to bottom out. It is estimated that in another hour, their thoughts will be exhausted. Moreover, judging from Kiya's previous appearance, it is estimated that there are not many such treasures, and it is very likely that they cannot support them to continue fighting. In this case, the words of the guardian god are quite correct. If they continue to fight, it is very likely that both sides will suffer. No, it may not even be that they are killed by the guardian god. However, even if they are tempted, they will not agree to the guardian god's begging for mercy. Because, knowing this guy's cruelty, Jean and the others didn't believe a word of this guy's words. They won't believe what this guy says. I wouldn't believe this guy's oath until the next sentence of the patron saint came out. Jean and the others were completely moved. As for flowers, the old man can use his life to swear by oath and restriction, as long as you let the old man go. The old man will leave this continent immediately and never set foot in this place. Oaths and constraints are the ability to make rules and obey them, and can double the none of none people. If the normal none is compared to addition, then the none that follows the rules is multiplication, and the power will be multiplied. In addition, the oath and restriction can also be used in other ways, such as the guardian god said to abide by the agreement and never violate it, at the expense of something. Once the rules are made, then you must act in accordance with the rules. Once a breach turns back into a penalty, something is lost. In the original book, both Kurapika and Gon used this, but they used it to increase the power of none. And once they default, they lose none back. Gon was rescued after using the oath to force growth, but he also lost none. And if the guardian god uses life to swear, once it breaks the contract, it will be backlashed immediately and lose its life. This is why Jean and the others are completely moved. If this guy really goes back to the Dark Continent, then they don't have to continue to take risks. There is only one life, and they are definitely happy to solve problems without danger. Seeing that Jean and the others were moved, the guardian god hurriedly continued. I absolutely promise, you also know the rules of oath and restriction. Once I swear with my life, then I must abide by it, otherwise I will die instantly. Okay, then you can swear now. Jean stopped the attack and said solemnly. Okay, I swear now, said the Patronus hastily, and then said, I swear here, as long as... The patron saint reacted very quickly, fearing that Jean and the others would return. The oath he made was a two-way oath. Although the big head was on him, Jean and the others would also be bound at the same time. Because once this oath is made, he will go back to the Dark Continent. Jean and the others cannot attack him. However, before his oath was initiated, a sudden change occurred. A thunderbolt blasted out from behind Jean, and a huge thunder column with a diameter of 50 meters rushed past Jean and hit the patron saint. 4. Chapter 97. In desperation, Kiya, what are you doing? Seeing the sudden appearance of thunder, Jean and Nit were all shocked, and they all looked at Kiya behind. Jean frowned and asked. The situation just now can be said to be the most perfect ending of this battle. As long as this monster makes a vow and restriction, then this matter can be over. This monster will never be able to threaten their world. But I didn't expect that at the critical moment, Kiya would come up with such a move. What is Kiya trying to do? Although there is no complaint against Kiya's behavior, they still want to know what Kiya thinks. Damn it, you forced this old man. Since you don't want a peaceful solution and want to push this old man into a desperate situation, then don't blame this old man. Jin's inquiry has just been sent, and Kiya hasn't answered yet. An angry roar came over. Immediately afterwards, a terrifying, violent, and chaotic 833 force erupted from the patron saint. Jin and the others were almost blown away by this terrifying momentum. You die with this old man? The terrifying aura continued to erupt, and the guardian god roared. No, this guy wants to blew his core. The well-informed Netero immediately saw what the guardian god wanted to do, and his expression changed drastically. Kia, hurry up and use your space ability to take us away. Netero yelled at Kia, and at the same time, the two rushed towards Kia. But Kia didn't have this idea at all. Looking at the guardian god, who was gathering thoughts and self-destructing, a disdainful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Do you think you can fool me like this? Old monster. What are you talking about, hateful boy? This time it was still roaring, but Kia could clearly hear the guilty conscience in the words of the guardian god. No, this guy doesn't look like he's about to blow himself up. This guy is cheating us. This guy, Gene, has a very good brain, and he immediately heard some clues from the conversation between Kia and the guardian god, could not help shouting out. Damn it, you actually saw it. The patron saint roared angrily. That's right, this guy didn't want to blow himself up at all. The reason why he condensed his thoughts and energy to create the imaginary that he was about to blow himself up was to deceive Kia and the others. He had seen before that Kia had the ability to teleport through space. So he was going to use the guise of self-destruct to deceive Kia and others, and let Kia and others use space teleportation to leave. The reason why Kia, you can see it, is because he has connected to the thunder that remains in the core of the lava titan and has not disappeared. So he can perceive the condition of the core of the lava in the body of the guardian god. Although the guardian god looks like I'm going to explode myself, it just gathers all the energy in its body together to make a show. The lava core in its body has no tendency to riot or self-destruct core at all. I can see that Ginger is still old and hot. If I hadn't had special means, we would have been cheated by you. Once we leave, it would be impossible to find you again. Kia said with a sneer. The thunderbolts in both hands were released again, and the terrifying breath began to rise. Wait, Kia, what are you going to do? Jean asked quickly. In this situation, they have the upper hand. Although Kia attacked this monster just now, the oath and restriction must still be able to continue. As long as this guy makes a vow and restriction, then the matter can be solved perfectly. There is no need to fight to the death. If it continues, this guy may really be cornered, and the self-destruct just now is no joke. This guy has lived for so long with such a strong body. The cold air in his body is terrifying. Once it explodes along with the core, even if Kia has the ability to teleport, it is not foolproof. No one can guarantee that once such a terrifying thought energy erupts, there will be no problems in the space here. At that time, even if there is a space ability, there will be a very big risk. Jean, transmit your thought energy into my body. Facing Jin's inquiry, Kia did not answer. The thunder in both hands became more and more terrifying. The aura of destruction continued to rise and spread, and even Jean faintly felt the danger. Jean was stunned for a moment, didn't speak, but looked at Kia in puzzlement. Kia, what on earth are you thinking? At this time, Netero and Potterby also came here. Netero looked at Kia, puzzled, and said, Of course I completely wiped this guy out here. It just so happened that the two of you also came and transmitted your energy to me. And I will kill this guy at once, Smile said. Kia didn't say how he planned to destroy this monster, because if you say it, the monster will be on guard. Moreover, this method, even I feel incredible, but it is indeed feasible. Looking at the unbelieving eyes of the three, Kia's eyes became serious and looked at the three and said solemnly, Believe me, I can definitely kill this guy. Since you really won't let this old man go, then let this old man keep you here completely, and you can die here with this old man. It's not a bad thing for this old man to be able to drag you to be buried with me. Kia's words, the patron saint naturally heard it, and the aura that had dissipated rose again. It can be seen that Kia is not going to let him go and wants to kill him here. Since that's the case, I'm not a coward. Let's take it. As soon as the words fell, the terrifying momentum became violent and chaotic again. The extremely terrifying Nungji broke out again. It seems that there is no other way. I can only trust you, Kia. Seeing this scene, Netero sighed slightly and said, Hey, I'll just trust you this time. I'll lose my life at worst. Potterby also saw that the matter was irreversible. so he could only trust Kia. He didn't complain about Kia. His life would have been gone long ago if Kia hadn't rescued him. Since Kia wants to be self-willed for a while, let's accompany Kia to be self-willed once. Even if they die here, the self-destructing Patronus will not be able to survive. The mission they came here this time has basically been completed, so there is no need to worry that this guy will appear in human society and endanger the safety of human society. What is this? Kia, you can't do anything later. You have to use your space ability as soon as possible. Gene 1.4 scratched his head, muttered something in a low voice, and then put one hand on Kia on the shoulders. The terrifying thoughts quickly poured into Kia's body. Kia's whole body was shaken, and the thunder exploded in an instant, and the terrifying thought energy continuously condensed in Kia's hands. The two net arrows sighed again, and then put their hands on Kia's shoulders, and the thoughts flowed into Kia's body continuously. The corner of Kia's mouth curled slightly, and he said, "Thank you." The next moment, Kia's eyes burst into a shock, and a circular black hole appeared in front of Kia, and a strange breath spread out from the black hole in an instant. Feeling this breath, both Kim and the patron saint were shocked. Don't even think about it," the patron saint roared. However, John ignored it and stretched his hands in with an indifferent expression. Boom! Chapter 98. The End 08. The horrific shriek of the patron saint resounded through the sky, and the huge tree body was thundered and destroyed wantonly. The original terrifying atmosphere completely disappeared at this moment. Kia's hands are still inserted into the created space black hole. This is Kia's ability after upgrading SpaceNet. The space black hole is able to create the tunnel between the 2 points, or the 2 starting points are connected together. On the other side of the black hole in space is no other place but the location of the lava core of the Guardian. And Kia's hands are now placed in the lava core. Kia uses the trace of thunder remaining in the lava core to make a space imprint, so that he can create a black hole connected to the core and a source of terrifying destructive thunder constantly destroying this huge lava core. The lava titan summoned back by the patron saint is extremely fragile after becoming the core. Even a trace of thunder left by Kia can damage it. It is precisely for this reason that Kia disregards Gene and his group's wishes and forcibly destroys the patron saint. If it is the original lava titan, it is very difficult to eliminate it. However, the lava titan that became the 19th core is completely different from before, at least hundreds of times weaker. I see, Kia, you did a great job, Gene said excitedly with a smile on his face. I didn't expect it to be like this. Kia, as expected, I believe you are right. Netero also saw the current situation clearly at this time, and also understood why Kia was so sure. This old man has never admired anyone except the president in his life. Kia, you are the second. Potter also said, looking at Kia is full of amazement. I'm overwhelmed, Kia said with a light smile. As the dust settled, the thunder from Kia's body continuously released, ravaged the lava core. The patron saint's roar continued to be heard, but it gradually weakened with the passage of time, until it finally disappeared completely. After 5 minutes, the roar of the patron saint completely disappeared. The lava core was completely destroyed under Kia's thunder. The huge tree body was scorched black, and black smoke blew up. In the perception of Kia and others, the breath of life of the guardian god completely disappeared. The old monster who had survived for more than 2,000 years and came here from the Dark Continent, who was scheming and almost plotted against Netero and others, finally fell here at this moment. With the fall of this monster, Gene and the others were relieved and sat down on the branches one after another, all with tired faces. This time they were exhausted. After more than 2 hours of continuous high-intensity fighting and high-intensity energy output, their bodies are already close to their limits. Even if there is the 1,000-year stone milk given by Kia, which can replenish the energy in the body, there is no way to restore the spirit. After this relaxation, the brains of the 3 people buzzed continuously, as if hundreds of flies were constantly harassing the heads of several people. Kia also leaned back and fell directly on the huge branch, with a faint smile on his face. Then he turned his head to look at the ancient Netero. "Hey, old man Netero, my mission has been completed," Kia said with a light smile. Netero, who was resting, was startled when he heard this. Jean and Potter also looked over in surprise. However, he didn't care at all and stared at Netero. Netero slowed down for a moment, with a kind smile on his face. "Ah, your mission has not failed. It is completed, Kia Zoldyck." "That's good." Kia nodded upon hearing that, then closed her eyes contentedly and began to rest. For 5 minutes, Kia can be said to be the hardest. In order to ensure that the lava core can be completely destroyed, Kia continuously released more than 20,000 displayed energy. Allowing other people's thought energy to enter the body, coupled with high-intensity thought energy release, even with his body, is somewhat unbearable. It seems to have calmed down inside. What's going on? On the rocky basin, Crook and the others were still standing on the rock pillars, watching the battle in the ruins. The movement in the ruins disappeared for several minutes, and there was no movement. It sounded, and Chun-Luk and others couldn't help but worry about the situation inside. "President, are they all right?" Inda said in a naive manner with a worried face. Kia, Minchi also showed worry and anxiety. "Let me go in and take a look." Crook pondered for a while, then said, "Are you okay?" "Crook, don't forget, you can't resist that monster's spirit none." Inda worried. "It's okay. I'll pay attention. I won't get close to that monster's domain. Watch from a distance, I have this." Crook said lightly, holding a telescope in his hand. "I'll leave it to you here." After speaking, Crook flapped his wings and flew out. "Well, good." Inda nodded and responded. "Wait, I'll go too." Seeing this, Minchi wanted to follow, but was stopped by Inda. "You don't want to go there. Inda's words are fine. But if you go, you will be a burden among the burdens. Besides, you can't even enter the ruins," Inda said, pointing to the black-red magma flowing slowly on the ground. "This girl's nun is so weak, it can't support her to enter the ruins." Minchi froze for a moment, then nodded in disappointment, walked to the rock wall, and sat down, with his hands on his knees, and stopped talking. Seeing this, Inda didn't understand what happened to Minchi, and scratched his head foolishly. "What's wrong with this little girl?" Inda thought, puzzled, and then used the light to put it on the relic canyon again, staring seriously. Time passed slowly, and soon, half an hour passed. When Inda felt something was wrong in his heart, a few figures suddenly appeared out of the ruins canyon. I saw Netero, Potterby, and Jean walking out supporting each other, and Crook flew beside them, holding a slender figure in his hands. Inda's eyes lit up immediately, and he rushed out. The huge movement alarmed Minchi immediately. Minchi stood up quickly and jumped over after seeing the figures of the crowd. With both feet wrapped around Jian, he followed quickly. 747 Kia, are you okay?" When rushing in front of several people, Minchi suddenly came to Crook's side, snatched Kia from Crook's hand, worried asked. However, her concerns were not answered. He fell asleep. Crook, who was robbed, said lightly, "Oh, Kia, is he okay?" Minchi said blankly, "Don't worry, little girl, this kid is fine," Netero said with a smile. "However, this kid is very lucky." Netero looked at Minchi, then at Crook, and said with a little deep meaning, "Old man, I am so old, and someone will not come to help me." Netero said meaningfully. Crook at the side blushed immediately, and then gave Netero a vicious look. "Old guy, the scourge has lived for thousands of years. Do you think you need it?" Throwing down a sentence viciously, Crook flew forward. Minchi on the side looked thoughtfully at Crook, who was leaving. Then he also carried the sleeping Kia and chased in the direction where Crook flew away. This kid, luck is really good. When the golden flower of the 12 earthly branches saw us, they didn't pay attention to us. Instead, they rushed over to this kid immediately. Jean also said with a teasing face, "Well, this kid's old lady approves of him. If Crook is always with this kid, he will raise his hands in approval, but it will probably take about 10 years. Potter, with a serious face, also answered a sentence rarely. "Inda, what are these guys talking about?" Chapter 99, being eaten young grass, slowly opened his eyes. Kia covered his forehead with one hand. How long have I been asleep? A thought flashed in Kia's mind. When killing that monster before, Kia's body was consumed so much that he fell asleep directly while resting. Sitting up from the bed, Kia immediately noticed the figure lying prone beside the bed. Menchi? Why is this guy here? Kia thought strangely. The figure was none other than Menchi. Getting up from the bed, Kia carefully carried Menchi up and covered her with a quilt. This guy Menchi was too deep in sleep to be picked up without knowing it. In other words, Kia's movements were so gentle that even Menchi, the hunter, couldn't be woken up. After placing Menchi, Kia came to the window and looked out of the window. It is now evening, and the room where Kia is located is more than 30 floors high, and from such a high place, you can just see the fire clouds caused by the volcanic groups on the Kekali ruins. After a moment of silence, Kia shook his head slightly and then sank his mind into his mind. Name: Kia's Zoldyck ability: None. Conjurer None Speed Thunder 1000. Traits: None Space Operation 1000. Manipulator None Ring of Angels Archangel's Breath 5000. Enhancer None 1000. Emitter None Field of Mind 1000. Note: the number of reinforcement points required for the next reinforcement is in brackets. Deputy ability: Cuisine. Advanced Cuisine 500. Archaeology. Archaeology Expert 5000. Note: in brackets are the enhancement points required for the next enhancement. Strengthening points 10332 item. Aluminum alloy yo-yo 1 piece, 10,000 strengthening points. This is what Kia got after killing the guardian god of the ruins. If it wasn't for the system's prompt, Kia couldn't be sure that he had killed the guardian at that time. After all, it is an old monster that has lived for thousands of years, and Kia can't guarantee whether it will have a follower. However, since the system has given prompts, it means that this old monster was really killed by himself. Hey, this trip has caused so many troubles, it's really troublesome enough. After reading his own attribute panel, Kia felt inexplicably emotional. The purpose of my coming out this time was just to kill monsters, but I didn't expect to involve the creatures of the Dark Continent. And he's such a scary guy. If it weren't for this time, it happened that the monster put its core outside. And this core was injured by himself again, and there was a weakness of fear of thunder and lightning. It was really impossible for them to destroy this guy. Even if you can only escape, if you don't escape, you will die in the ruins. Having lived for thousands of years, this monster is too powerful. This strength lies in the huge size of his body, the huge mind energy and special spirit, none condensed in thousands of years, and its dual cores that are different from other monsters. Even if Jean, Netero, and Potter by joint forces, with Kia's help except none, they're still not this guy's match when they run out of energy. However, when it comes to the core of this monster, Kia feels very speechless. Since it is the core, why put it outside? Isn't this courting death? Once destroyed, the core is gone. Or, the mind of this monster is the 3 caves of the cunning rabbit. Once the core is destroyed, immediately recall another core, one more life. If it is true, then this monster is really scheming, and has even made a way to deal with this unwarranted crisis. It's a pity that this approach is a bit silly, probably out of my mind. If it were Kia, Kia would definitely hide the core of the lava titan, never expose it, and get it out when needed. Instead of using the lava titan to count against Netero them, expose the lava titan to Netero's eyes. Or rather, this monster is too confident in himself. Thinking to this point, Kia shook his head with a slight sigh. If this guy hadn't been too confident and exposed his other core, he wouldn't have suffered today's disaster at all. Arrogance and arrogance are really undesirable, one of the 7 deadly sins. Kia, you're finally awake. At this moment, Kia felt 2 soft lumps on his head, and then he was hugged by a soft body. Kia's eyelids twitched suddenly, expressionless. I said, UBD, give me enough time. Then, a cross appeared on Kia's forehead again, and his face became unhappy. As soon as she turned around, Kia directly stretched out her hands and began to pinch the gatekeeper's tender face that had just recovered. However, this time, Menchi did not resist but looked at Kia with an ugly smile. His face was pinched. This made Kia stunned for a moment, and also let go of her hand. What's wrong with you?" Kia asked strangely. This guy suddenly played out of the ordinary. If it were the same as before, he would definitely sleep for a while. "It's okay, Kia, as long as you're okay," Minchi said with a smile. Kia fell silent for a moment. Kia could hear this guy's strong concern for him. In the sentence just now, Minchi seemed to have unloaded something in his words. It seemed to be worried. "Be happy that you are safe and well. This guy really is..." "Minchi, what the Zoldyck family needs is a strong man, and your strength is not enough." After a moment of silence, Kia suddenly spoke. Minchi, who was smiling, was startled for a moment. The smile gradually disappeared, and he became silent. Kia didn't continue to speak, just looked at the silent Minchi quietly. "Kia, I know. I will become stronger." After a few minutes of silence, Minchi raised his head, squeezed out a smile, and said to Sun seriously, "I'll come back to you when the time comes." Minchi said, turned around, and walked outside. "Lee's good, wait, this is for you." Kia called Minchi to stop, and then threw a big bottle over. Hearing this, Minchi felt something approaching behind him, turned around, and reached out to catch it. "This is..." Minchi wondered. "For you to become stronger, the contents in it can strengthen your physique and supplement your consumption. However, you can't drink too much at one time. Just one drop at a time during exercise. I hope you will reach your goal soon and come to me." Kia explained with a faint smile on her face. When Minchi heard this, his eyes lit up slightly. Then his smile hung up again, and he nodded heavily to Kia. "Don't worry, I will find you as soon as possible," Minchi said with a smile, and walked out quickly after speaking. Looking at the closed door, Kia touched her chin, tilted her head, and fell silent. After a long time, Kia spoke slowly. "Am I being eaten, young grass?" Chapter 100 Hunter License, and leaving after thinking for a while, Kia came to a conclusion. "Totally not. Although I look very young now, and my heart is also restricted by age, but I have memories from my previous life. The sum of the 2 lifetimes is more than 30 years old, so there's no such thing as young grass being eaten. It's better to say that it's me who eats the tender grass." Also, looking at Minchi's attitude, he doesn't treat me like a child at all. "No one will be tempted by a child, unless it's a Shotokan," Kia flatly complained. "Very good. Coming here this time is considered a consummation of merit and virtue. Not only have I acquired a lot of wealth, but my strength has also been greatly improved. I have also obtained a strong fire attribute resistance, and there are more than 100,000 reinforcement points, which is enough to make my strength once again stretched. And there are treasures, such as the Heart of Lava and the 1,000-year-old stone milk. This time it is really full. There are enough materials for cultivating subordinate forces." Kia took stock of the harvest this time. "I don't know to what extent my current strength has reached, but I guess it should be comparable to my father. With such strength at such a young age, I can be considered the first person in ancient times." Kia smiled confidently. "It's getting closer to my goal. Okay, since the matter has ended perfectly, let's go back. However, let's say goodbye to Jean and the others before going back. 193 has fought side by side anyway. I just don't know if they're still here." Muttering silently, Kia left the room. Originally, she wanted to go to Jean and the others, but she didn't expect that not long after she left, Kia ran into Jean, who came to see her. "Yo, Kia kid, you're awake." Jean was still dressed in sloppy clothes, a pair of trousers, a vest, and the stubble on his face was extremely messy, but his mental outlook was quite good. "UBD, you recovered so quickly?" Kia raised his eyebrows. "Ah, that's not a matter of course. It's been 2 days already," Jean Wenyin said with a strange expression on his face. "That's right, it's been 2 days." Kia was stunned, and said in a daze she had slept for so long. 0. The next moment, a long thunderclap came from Kia's stomach. Kia blankly covered her abdomen. "Haha, let's go and fill your stomach first." Jean laughed loudly, grabbed Kia's hand, and walked forward. "Haha, your appetite is so big, it's comparable to mine." In a private room, Jean watched Kia devouring, patted his thigh, and laughed. The dining table was already full of empty pots, and the waiter had come to collect them several times, but there were still so many pots on the table. 80% full. Kia ignored Jin's big laugh and continued to sweep wildly. After another half an hour, he finally stopped. During this time, the waiters of the hotel came back and forth several times. A person with a strong physique needs a huge amount of nutrients. Kia's body is very slender, but it can quickly digest these foods and turn the food into its own nutrients. Even if Kia eats food that is several times larger than her body, she won't have any problems. Speaking of which, I have a child who is the same age as you, and it would be great if he had the same appetite as you. Jin propped his chin with one hand and said with a smile. Hearing this, Kia was taken aback for a moment, and then his expression became strange. Your son? The troublemaker? Kia thought of her original fate, trembled all over, and shook her head violently. I don't want to go with this guy. Hey, Kia, my son will also walk on the path of our hunter in the future. If you meet him at that time, please take care of him. Jin said with a smile. Huh? Hunter, what are you talking about? I'm not a hunter. I'm a professional killer. Kia rolled her eyes and said contemptuously. I forgot about this. The old man Netero said that in order to express his gratitude to you this time, he specially arranged a professional hunter status for you. No, this is your hunter license. He took out a card and threw it towards Kia. With this hunter license, many things can be done, and the benefits are very good. Jin continued. However, it doesn't seem to be of much use. First he praised, but the next moment Jin became disgusted. Holding the hunter license card, Kia looked at the head portrait on it with a strange expression. This million gold, Jeg, oil card that ordinary people may not be able to get after a lot of hard work, just let me get it. Hunter licenses have several characteristics. 1. Anti-counterfeiting treatment has been done. Counterfeit products cannot be reproduced through various counterfeit prevention processes. 2. You can enter prohibited areas with a hunter license. You can enter 90% of the countries that are generally prohibited from entering and 75% of the restricted areas. 3. It can be used as a guarantee. The money from the sale can provide enough food and clothing for 7 generations of descendants. And it can also be used as a guarantee to borrow high-value loans. 4. Free use of public facilities. You can use 95% of the public facilities for free, and you can also use the computer webpage without spending a dime. 5. Cannot be reissued. 20% of those who pass the test will lose their license within 1 year, but will not be reissued. These are indeed very good benefits for ordinary people, but for Kia, they seem a bit tasteless. Oh, by the way, old man Netero and Chun asked me to say thank you on their behalf. Jin suddenly thought of something and said to Kia, Are they not here anymore? Kia asked doubtfully upon hearing this. Well, I went to the V5 headquarters and reported this incident to those big shots. Kid Kia, this time you took such a big deal. I guess you will come into the sight of these big shots next time. There is no way to do this. There should be special nun people over there who can investigate Netero and the others. Your identity cannot be concealed. However, in your capacity, I don't think it's a big deal. When you inherit the position of patriarch of your family, you will also come into their sight, and there is no difference hidden. Kia nodded, not surprised. Where's Crook? Kia suddenly thought of something and asked. She went to study the remains of the monster in the ruins. For her, as a plant hunter, the remains of that monster are very important materials. I guess her strength will be greatly improved after she completes the research. Oh, by the way, that place is now hunted into a forbidden area. Only hunters with a hunter license can enter. Kia, if you want to go in, you only need to have a hunter license to enter. How about it? Do you want to go in and find Crook? Jin frowned slightly and said with a smirk. Forget it, just ask. Facing Jin's appearance, Kia glanced at him expressionlessly and said, What is this guy thinking? I have nothing to do with Crook. Okay, since we've already left, I'm going back too. Let's say goodbye here. Kia stood up and said, ready to leave after speaking. Hey, Kia, are you sure you really don't want to be a relic hunter with me? It's very profitable, Jin shouted. Are you sure you want me to be the ruins hunter with you? How about, let my dad and grandpa come and talk to you? Kia turned around and asked with a strange expression. Forehead. No. Jean Winyen, his face froze immediately. Thinking of Kia's father and grandfather, he immediately dismissed the idea. Seeing this, Kia showed a contemptuous look and then left directly, leaving Jean sitting at the dining table with a dazed expression.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.